Hey, cinema fans, welcome to a new Cinema Fans podcast episode. We got Marvel Spider-Man 2 spoiler discussion, and so let's get into it. Let's have fun. Let's get into the spoilers and discuss the game and whatnot. So let's have fun here. Just letting everyone know that the guest requests are open. So if you want to join, let's have this discussion about Marvel Spider-Man 2. We're going to talk everything spoilers and everything about that. So we're about to have Phil on here. There are probably going to be more coming our way soon, or some point in this live stream. So and again, letting everyone know, spoilers will be in this live. So if you have not finished the game, come back. This will be recorded. This is being recorded, so it will be on my YouTube later on tonight or tomorrow morning. So we're having a spoiler discussion for Marvel Spider-Man 2, and let's get into it. We're gonna have some guests on here, and but anyone can join. Anyone. So the floor is all yours. Not gonna lie, I'm having a bit of a rough day today, so I'm a little out of it. So hopefully this will be fun to keep me distracted. But so let's just waiting on people to get in here. The live stream is ready to go. So anybody wants to join, hit the request to join in the live stream. Let's have a discussion about the spoiler. Well, Marvel Spider-Man 2. Hey, you want to join on the live stream, King? They didn't nerf Peter, bro. Can you do live? Can you go live? I want to have that discussion with you. I would be okay. Well, I appreciate you, dog. Going up though. Much love, man. Man, how did they dumb down Peter in Marvel Spider-Man 2? Please tell me. Please explain to me how. That's an interesting take. I mean, to say that Marvel Spider-Man 2 dumbed down Peter is a wild take for me, because I did more for Peter than they did.
Bro, I'm telling you, I'm tired. I'm really tired of people saying that, bro. They keep saying he was nerfed, bro. Peter was not nerfed. I don't know where they got that from.
I mean, he getting a little older, but I mean, shit, look at Logan.
He was still cooking. He was cooking.
I mean, I will say he didn't. Now, the argument people will say, well, he did take on a lot of villains in this game, but that's not. It's the number. Yes, there was a lot in the first game, but the difference between the first game and the second game is the villains that he took on are way more tougher, way more brutal, and way more everything. So,
and again, this game, Spider-Man 2, is not only meant for Peter. So Peter's not gonna always get the shine, and that's why I feel like a lot of people, like sway off at, because they think that Peter's all just nerf player. Now I will say it was kind of odd in that Sandman fight. He was kind of getting beat, but other than that, I had no problem with it. I feel like people were kind of straying away that Spider-Man 2 is not only about Miles and Peter. It's about all these other characters as well, and they showed us that.
Well, that's the point of the story, because in the Miles game, they were kind of setting up the fact that Peter is getting a little bit tired, but he's still kicking ass. But the thing is that was the point of this game, is that even with him being Spider-Man, I would say actually, I think 10 years now at this point, that he's still doing his thing.
How many years has it been in Spider-Man 2? Because I know in the first game, it was 8. Yeah, it was 8.
It's 2-year gap between the first and the second game. It's a weird timeline thing.
Yeah, they say because Miles Morales was a couple months after, and then
So I would say roughly he's in his 10th year.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I don't think Peter was nerfed. I don't think he did anything bad. And when he got the symbiote, bro, I don't know why they say that. I don't think I will have to disagree with you in the comments. I don't think Miles should be out of the game. I think it's a perfect thing to put Miles in the game, to have that dynamic, and that chat that Peter and Miles had in the beginning of the game about him talking about who you are as a person. I really like that.
I mean, how could you not have Miles? I look now. You can make the argument. Well, where's the other street level heroes and the Avengers, but they explain that people pay attention to the details of the
Exactly.
game. But Miles specifically is a Spider-Man. He is part of the Spider,
Bro,
I would say, kind of like the Bat Family, but Spider Family. So I mean, he has, that's his responsibility. That's the point of Spider-Man. That's why he's there. So for him not to be in the story, that's a disservice to Peter, disservice to the whole meaning of Spider-Man. And really,
and
it would be,
I was gonna address,
yeah, go ahead.
and I was gonna address like a comment. My bad for cutting you off, but
No, go.
do you know when the symbiote Peter lost to Miles, he was mentally nerfed and he was trying to fight back the symbiote as he was fighting Miles. Like, I think a lot of people are just not getting that. But no, Peter and Miles they're both Spider-Man. They're their own Spider-Man. It's like Batman and Robin. That's literally like it is.
Well, yeah, but like, why can't we play as Venom? Well, it's the same thing like the Ultimate Spider-Man game. You play them
Exactly.
for the missions, but you don't get to play them in the free roam, mode. You don't get to do that. It's only for the purpose of the story. And honestly, I'm glad that we don't get that because it'll
Facts.
get super boring real quick being Venom when all
Exactly.
you do is just dominate the whole New York City.
And that's what I'm going to say. Like, I really agree with you because for that mission, that was perfect. Playing as Venom for that mission and stuff like that, that little sequence, perfect. I don't think they should have made it long term. I definitely agree with it got boring, just dominating somebody like the like lower level of like villains the whole time. But like, I think it was perfect to do it like how they did it in Ultimate Spider-Man, like it is Spider-Man 2. You play as him for this little bit, you dominate, show how brutal Venom was and brutal he is, and then that's it. I think
They
it was
should
perfect.
make a movie out of. Bro, we have like 6 movies of. Well, Miles, yeah. Well, they're working on a Miles movie.
Wait, for real,
Um,
they are?
it's in the works right
Oh,
now.
bet.
I mean, they can't do much because of the whole actor strike thing right now, but
Exactly. I wonder who's
that
going to be
is definitely in
Miles.
the works though.
I
Hmm?
wonder who's going to be Miles.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Nah, you see him in Town Hall on the big screen, be perfect, bro. Finally, a live action Miles Morales because he was referenced in Homecoming.
I wonder who was stronger between Anti Venom and Peter or Miles. Well, that's the only critique I do have about the game that I wish they kind of explored a bit more. Maybe they'll explore it in the third game. Is that the
Yeah.
same reason we have like Spider-Man Homecoming? Because Tom was more like it's about the suit, but not the message, the meaning of it, and that whole story
Exactly.
behind that. But with this game, and there's moments in the game like that moment where they're on the boat. I'm calling it a boat, but I know there's another term for it. But when Peter is trying to save all those people from not getting cut up by that big old giant fan thing, Miles is looking at Mr. Negative and me like, man, I want to murk this dude, and he's
Bro,
so he's so focused on that, you know. Go
yeah.
ahead.
And my bad, bro. I really apologize, but this the
No,
comments
you're
is
good.
kind of wild, bro. So let me explain this. The whole fight between Peter and Yuri, like Wraith, he wasn't even trying to beat her. He was trying to stop her from trying to end the dude. Was that
Mm.
was what's his name? What was that villain
Oh,
name?
Cletus.
Clears. He wasn't even trying to fight her. That's why he was struggling. And we see this and we know this because as the fight is going on, he's literally saying, "You have to stop. I'm not trying to hurt you." Like, come on, bro. You gotta play the game, bro.
Well,
I just
most
Hey,
of the,
hey, can I ask y'all a kind of a slightly different question?
yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, all right. So who would win in a fight? Spider-Man's villains or Batman's villains?
Oh, you should have been in my live from yesterday. Oh my gosh, you should have been in my live. We had a huge
Spider-Man villain.
debate. Uh,
Spider-Man villains.
yeah. Well,
Sandman's taking down Clayface. Craven. Hold on. Slade not even a Batman rogue anymore, so he wouldn't really be out there. But I feel like Scorpion, he's taking down a
are we
Scarecrow.
okay? Let me ask you this. Can I ask a counter question then?
Yeah.
What are we talking games or are we talking comics?
Yeah. You right. You right. Yeah, games are comics.
Um, probably comics. Probably comics.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
have to watch Spider-Man villains.
because right
Spider-Man villain?
now, currently, Carnage right now is a beast, and
Well,
Ooh,
Carnage.
yeah.
I
Ooh.
mean, like technically, currently, no. Well, technically, for about like technically, Carnage ain't really a Spider-Man villain anymore.
well, yeah,
But not currently. I mean, well, I guess my original thing was I was thinking more like the Sinister Six, but
okay,
then like,
but
but like,
that's generalizing because the Sinister Six has been different
Yeah.
characters
well,
throughout. I mean, you could say
well,
Doc Ock
let
is like the main guy.
let me phrase that.
Okay,
The original Sinister, the first Sinister Six.
Okay, so that means it'd be Doc Ock, Craven,
Sandman,
Sandman. Was Scorpion in
Mysterio.
there or nah?
It was Mysterio.
Yeah,
Like the
Mysterio.
very first iteration,
All
I
right.
think.
I just read this too. I just was
Yeah,
reading
I'm about
this.
to say wait, because I know it was Doc Ock, Sandman. I think Scorpion was it. Was or was no? It was Lizard. Was it Lizard?
Yeah,
No,
I think it was
it was
Lizard. I know
because
Vulture.
no, because
Vulture.
Lizard was at the current time he was just, I believe the first iteration he was, I believe not, he was trying not to be the Lizard. I know it took him a while to the basically what happened in the game is what happened in the comics. Basically, he was not
Ah,
the Lizard for a while, but then I think
okay.
it was like after it was like it was the OG Ramita run that he was, you know, he returned because he popped up in Steve Ditko once and that
I
was
got
it.
it was Craven, Mysterio, Doc Ock, Vulture, Sandman, and there was one more.
Oh,
Mm.
was it Green Goblin?
Oh,
No,
Chameleon was his name.
it was Electro. The OG Sinister Six.
Electro,
It was
Electro,
Electro.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So those six versus, I guess, Batman's original was that Joker, Penguin, Riddler.
Oh, they did.
Um,
I ain't gonna lie.
right, right.
The only one that maybe stands a fight is Bane, maybe.
Yeah.
Bane, right, right.
Yeah.
And
Nah,
so
Bane and Craven. That's gonna be a fight. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
actually,
Bane and
no,
Craven.
I, I think Bane might take that one.
I
Oh,
got
between
Craven.
Bane
I'm
and
not gonna
Craven.
lie. I got Craven
Hey
because
guys, hey guys. I'm gonna step out for just a second. Y'all
Sure.
continue on with this discussion. I'll be right back.
well, all right,
Okay.
yeah, I got Craven simply because of how strong Craven's Rhino Dust is. Craven's Rhino Dust was able to knock out the Hulk. I don't see Bane countering that Rhino Dust.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. So yeah, yeah. Because I was thinking about. It, I was like, yeah, I think Spider-Man's villains was just wipe the floor with Batman's villains.
You're losing the
Now,
main six. Yeah,
my whole my whole thing with Batman and I seen like a TikTok who said this. He's like a conservative man's wet dream because because the fact that he doesn't fight his billionaire buddies, only
well,
street level thugs.
no, I will say this. I mean, like at first. Two Face Harvey Dent was at first until he became Two Face, but then after that, yeah, you're not really wrong. But there's no really need for, and me personally, I don't like Batman, but like, there's no really need for him because who are like the major rivals? Like, who is his major
Right,
like billionaire
right.
rivals?
My thing, and I'm like, okay, because somebody aching Batman, like Wayne Enterprise, to be like, if Amazon ran the whole city.
I never put Craven against Batman. What?
No, I said no,
Nah,
like Wayne Enterprises, like Wayne Enterprises
yeah,
would
nah, I
be like
wasn't. I was looking at
if
the comments. My bad.
right. Oh yeah. So if Amazon ran the whole city, basically, because that's what Wayne Tech is. Wayne Tech literally, like, there's nobody. Gotham City is literally just Wayne Tech City, basically. It's Wayne Enterprise City because
Bro,
they run everything. They run the hospital. They run the services, social service, the Gotham Police Department, all under. I guess Gotham Police
uh,
Department might be its own thing, but
they're
for the most
rich.
part, though.
Joker, well,
They're
for one, Joker, he's not rich anymore, so I don't know about that. The Penguin, yeah, he's rich, but he's not like a billionaire rival to Bruce. Um,
right, right,
and
and
Two Face,
so
that's what I'm saying. Like Harvey Dent was rich at first until he became all the Two Face thing. He
Two
started
Face,
robbing
right,
banks and stuff like that. But the Quarter
right,
Owls, yeah, they're rich. I can say that. Yeah,
right,
Quarter Owls.
and the Quarter Owls is the only one who give Batman some real go.
Wait, what do you mean?
I guess
Like
I
billionaire? You
guess
talking about like millionaire wise, like money wise?
your money, your money. I guess money wise, yeah, yeah. But
I'm back.
I never see Batman fighting
Yeah,
his
money wise, I would say like, they're the main one.
I'm
because
back.
I've never seen him fight actual politician corruption. It's always been street level corruption.
I do think that they should do like more stories of yes, we see like Bruce being Batman, but also let's see him like his political views and like all that stuff, trying to
Right,
make
right,
Gotham a better place than beating up thugs.
Hey, y'all can hear me?
right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can hear you.
All right.
because I know the thing that got Batman shocked was that every time, and I remember this was in the comic. Every time him and Joker get into it, and which car gets destroyed, the his buddy billionaire millionaires come in and buy up all that property that was destroyed, and it's just like Batman's like, what? I can't remember which comic that was, but it was an eye opener to see that. Yeah, we just wait until him and Joker do whatever then thing, and then we go in and buy all those properties up and on pennies of the dollar, and then flip them, whatever, something like that.
Yeah, and I want to ask like y'all a quick question about Spider-Man 2. Like
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
how because I love these missions. I love these missions in this game. How did y'all feel about the MJ missions in this game?
The main missions or side missions?
No, the MJ missions, her side
Oh,
missions.
the MJ.
Yeah,
Bro,
I love them.
I loved, bro. Okay, the only thing I didn't like about it is that they waited for the good NJ mission to show up at the end, though. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the other ones, but her pulling up in a motorcycle and then riding out. I mean, come on, bro.
Exactly. That was a
Shooting
major upgrade from the last
that
game.
felt like Resident Evil, right? To be honest with you, a little bit.
Now,
Exactly.
now I have to tell y'all, I don't have the game at all, so I'm just listening to y'all. So I'm just, and I've seen playthroughs though, because it's definitely an amazing game. Because I'm like, oh yeah, that thing is fire.
Well, have you played the first one?
I haven't played the first one either.
You know what happens in the first one, right?
No. Actually, no, I don't actually. But you can definitely tell me because I don't.
Okay, so in the first game, there's moments where we play as MJ or Miles before he has the powers, and so it's
Uh-huh.
like a little. The first game was like kind of like her sneaking around, getting to A to B, and pretty much not doing anything. I mean, maybe
Boring.
doing the little zaps here and there, and throwing stuff to
Okay.
distract like people, henchmen or whatnot. But in this game, and that was the big complaint with the first one, that it was the pacing. It was like, you're doing all this crazy stuff as Spider-Man and whatnot, and then you get the MJ mission. It's like very
Exactly.
slowed down. In the second
Yeah,
game,
that will make sense because I'm like, you got all this unlimited power, and then they just take it away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, and the thing is, like, the missions, like, in the first game could have been better. It's just the pacing with them were terrible.
Okay. So it was more so pacing than actual the
It was
gameplay itself.
boring too. It's like it was just her like sneaking around, not getting. It was
Okay.
boring. I ain't gonna
even
lie.
the replays, I dread it. Even the
Fact.
replays.
Well, yeah. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, right? You get to play. That's like what was that? What was that? It was something. Yeah, it's totally different. I'm like, yeah, you give us all these cool powers, and then you give us this nonsense. Or they
Exactly.
probably could have gotten more creative with it.
That's what they did in Spider-Man 2. They got way more creative.
Okay.
They,
Now here's a question.
mhm.
In the first Spider-Man, did MJ know about Peter and Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the first game in this
First game?
story, he's 8
Okay.
years in as Spider-Man, kind of like how the Arkham game started out, him 8 years into the game,
Okay.
8 years in
Okay.
as Batman.
So
He's been
maybe
Spider-Man
it could have
for
been
years.
something along the lines of it could have been something along the lines of MJ of you being like how would y'all think of something along the lines of being like instead of being more like Peter's what's the word I'm looking for? Like Peter was doing out there, and you're like giving him information, feed him information, and find the information for him to go to like the next thing.
The missions that's like what the missions were like her finding out info about stuff and giving it to Peter, but it's like the way they did it was just boring and bad.
Okay,
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 so
okay, okay, yeah,
the
okay.
big two standout ones are when she goes to Tombstone's like a biker club because he's like
Yeah.
a biker in the first
Yeah.
game, and so she's trying to get information because basically what Tombstone is doing. I can't
Mhm.
say it right. Tombstone is doing is basically he's making these vehicles for Mr. Negative, for Mr. Negative, so he can do whatever he wants. So he's building these like gigantic like tank trucks with big tires and whatnot. And so she's trying to get the information. You eventually get to fight Tombstone in a side
Okay.
mission, but in this other game, I mean not the other game, the other mission, she goes to Norman and Norman's a penthouse to get
Yeah.
information about Devil's Breath and whatnot, and
Okay.
or something. Yeah, because she was trying to get information about Devil's Breath, and then Peter goes off to fight Sable, the Mr. Negative, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's when we get the setup with the second game and even the third game, because in the second game they kind of, basically let you know that Harry is sick. He's got the same illness that his mother has, and so because Harry told MJ and Peter because they grew up as like a triangle friendship group. He
Okay.
told them that he was on vacation, but really he was like really ill. But at the end of
Okay.
the game, which leads into the second game. At the end of the game, we find that he's in like a big green watery tank with venom goo on him. Basically, they're doing
Oh.
like they're kind of blending the Ultimate story with some of like the
Okay.
90s
Okay.
animated series
Makes sense.
story
Makes
Tell
sense.
with
me.
the Venom.
Which was peak, by the way. That's peak Spider-Man because that dude went through almost everything in the comics.
Yeah.
That 90s
I didn't
animation.
like the Venom. I didn't like the blue and red Venom design from that
Okay.
show though. I'm not a big fan of that,
Um.
but the show is perfect.
So
I ain't gonna lie.
okay. So now my question is, what MJ kind of things would y'all want for the next
Oh,
game? Like what?
the stuff that we had in Spider-Man 2 gets better
If
because
she
bro,
if
she
they
had a gun and everything.
if they can keep what they did with the final mission with MJ for the next game and maybe add more on that and make it more tense because it was as tense because like basically what happens is that it's kind of like you ever played the Sly Cooper games.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. I love those. I love those. Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
Miles and Peter and MJ make this plan, and it's they never use Miles really until he fights Venom, but they have this plan. MJ goes into the symbiote nest to try help me remind me, Marvel guy.
Yeah.
What was it? What was she going in for? I can't
I'm
remember.
pretty sure she was going into wasn't it like a bunch of people in there? Oh no, they were trying
Okay.
to get Harry back.
Oh, they're trying to get the spiral thing, the
Yeah.
But
stone
basically,
thing. Yeah.
when you said Sly Cooper, that made sense. And yeah, those games were really fun.
Yeah, so
Facts.
basically, you know how like at the end of their missions, like they all come together when they pieced everything together, and like they go to each character, how they play out the mission, kind of like a heist,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Ocean 11 stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, same thing, but basically MJ goes into the symbiote nest to get the spiral little meteor rock that basically brought about the symbiotes in the first place, where they found it,
Ah.
and she has to retrieve it to get it out of the nest so they can get it to the that machine that they build because basically it's a lot of story, but basically Harry and Peter
Okay.
they start what's the word for it, like
Okay.
a science business, but they're like trying to heal the world and whatnot.
Yeah, heal the world. This is
Okay.
mom. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess more like that, and because I would imagine if you had like a little two-part thing where you control MJ at some point, and what's called on the other side of town, but they both got to work in unison,
Well, it's kind
something
of
like
like
that.
that. So basically, Miles is basically fighting off hordes of like symbiote people while she's in
Ooh.
there,
Oh
getting
yeah.
the meteor rock while Peter is fighting Venom,
Oh, that's
which
tense.
is
Oh, that's
Harry,
definitely tense. Oh,
and which
that sounds tense.
and so when she's going in there, she's upgraded her gun to where it's like an anti-venom thing where she shoots the symbiotes and they just couple shots and they're done. But there's this moment at the end of it where because they kind of like in the comics there's like what was the team that the symbiotes have? Help me out here, Marvel guy. It was a purple, orange, and white Crap, what's their name? Phil was supposed to show up here soon. He was going to help me out with that
Or
one.
is it white?
It
Shoot.
was a team of symbiotes. It was like Scream and
Yeah, Scream was one.
Riot.
Yeah, Scream, Riot. Who was that one? Because I know, was it
Okay.
Mania? No, it wasn't Mania. Because Mania is a clone of Venom. Who was it?
But they took the inspiration from those characters
Yeah.
and they
Okay.
applied it to the henchmen for the symbiotes. Now
Bro.
they do bring in Scream, which was super dope, and I was going
Comics.
crazy when that happened.
Bro,
Okay. So
MJ
okay.
becoming Scream, that was real cool.
And
So
he's
basically, just more of that, more innovative ways to use MJ.
Yeah. Like, bro,
Yeah.
they had her shooting up Venom, bro. That joint was fun.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was that moment where the bigger one shows up, like like he's like Hulk size, and he shows up, and I'm like, as a player, I'm like, how the hell am I going to fight this? I'm literally just running and the whole. Okay, that's one of my things. I have a hard time with the parry thing in the game because it's this new mechanic they introduced in the second game because you don't get to do it in other games where you
I was
par.
gonna ask, how y'all feel about that? The parry, the parries thing.
I
like
never used it. I never used it.
I like it. I feel like it's a new innovative way to like show you fighting up like these bad guys and stuff, being able to parry their attacks and just like blast them away with Miles with his electricity, with his bioelectricity. It's fun.
Okay.
See, I never used the parry. I was just completely smashing the dodge button all the boss fights. And let me tell you something. My thumbs were sore. I kid you not. It was like I'm not going to say the joke, but.
Well, I know completely. I understand what you mean by dodging because I'm currently playing Lies of P, and
Bro, the boss fights though they stepped it up a lot in this game.
Facts. Like I really like how they have health bars now. That's really good.
Even
they
though
didn't have health bars the first game.
Huh?
They didn't have health bars the first time.
No.
Nah. The bosses have health bars. It's more innovative. The dialogue between the bosses are way better, in my opinion, in this game. Like when Venom, when Peter with the symbiote was talking to Lizard, he was like, "Dad, no wonder your family left you." I was like, "Yo, you got to be stopped."
Yeah, I was waiting for the moment because they were building this up since the Miles game because you can tell Peter had this little bit of jealousy towards Miles. You can see in his reaction a little bit in the beginning of Miles. And when he's fully into the symbiote stuff, and dude, he's on his way to save Miles from Kraven because I can't remember why Miles was there in the first place, but basically Kraven got a hold of him, and because it was after he fought Mr. Negative, which that alone, I loved that fight between Miles and Mr. Negative.
Miles and like that whole development with Mr. Negative and him and like knowing he was wrong. Oh, God, that was perfect. This game is a 10 out of 10.
Oh, they did a service. They did a service to Mr. Negative.
I would imagine so. I've been screaming like we are currently in like year 6 of the best gaming decade to date.
I ain't gonna lie, this year's peak gaming, bro. This year, nothing but bangers has been dropping, bro. Mortal Kombat 1, oh my god.
For the past 6 years, nothing been bangers, and it goes back to when, for past 6 years, and it started with when Zelda dropped with the Switch.
Yeah, that game was good. I ain't gonna lie.
So from that moment up until now, we have literally like by the time this year 2027, by the time that ends, like so many amazing games. We are literally eating amazing as gamers.
And I agree. I do think that the next Spider-Man, like Spider-Man 3 game, I just hope that they have a co-op option. Please. Peter and Miles, or like whoever's gonna be playable, which Miles is gonna be playable, but like whoever it is, Peter or Silk, it's gonna be perfect. And I also wanted to ask y'all too, how do y'all feel about Peter and his new anti-venom? How y'all feel about it?
Well, that was what I was trying to say earlier is the only thing I love the anti-venom thing. I was talking to Phil the other day about it with spoiler. He's going to be here soon, but we were talking about, the symbiote stuff and how this game was definitely taking a lot of inspiration from the comics
It was.
I mean, they've done it before, but this one was very heavy
Yep.
with the comics, especially with a lot of recent stuff like the King in Black. Uh, a lot of because I mean, a lot of it from the first game and the second game is basically everything from after one more day up until now. They've been really pulling
Hold up.
from.
Is King in Black and Spider-Man 1?
No.
No, it's
The
two.
King, the King in Black is a title. So currently, the King in Black, what is Venom? Like in the comics, currently is Venom, Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
But before that, it was the symbiote guy, Noel.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. I actually follow Comic Explain, so I know all about Noah Semi. I got it. Like the
Yeah,
moment
it's a
where
title. It's not like the King of Black isn't a person. It's a
But like
it's the title.
when I say that, I
yeah,
mean like a crossover event, kind of like the Civil War and Infinity God. That's when I
yeah,
would say that. That's what
yeah.
I mean.
So yeah, because is 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 in the game is Venom the current King in Black?
Well,
No,
there is
well,
like we don't
when
we
I
haven't like
say that,
it's,
it's more of like because the henchmen, the little symbiote henchmen, have the spiral, and
Okay.
the actual meteor that crash lands on Earth has the
Yeah.
spiral as well, which
Okay.
is setting up Null and all that. That's why I say King of Black, and then even in the
Okay.
final fight, Venom gets his wings, which was super cool, dude.
Okay.
I,
facts.
So no. So they haven't brought out No yet, which I
Yeah,
think
like we
they
we
probably
we, well, we obviously like, we know that Noah exists in the Insomniac universe. Like obviously we know he exists. We don't like he's not like on Earth yet. Like he hasn't
now
been doing
now
nothing to Earth.
oh, he coming though.
Yeah, he's
that
coming
could
though.
be the big bad of the final game, and it'd be and
Well, that
if they
was. Just go ahead. Go
if
ahead.
they do it if they do it like they did the comic book,
I want
then
Peter to die.
right. I mean that's the thing. I'm like, look, well, I don't know if anybody died, but if they did it exactly like they did in the comic book where Eddie Brock beats No, I mean that would be like insane. Because
Well, the director of the past games, he was saying that they look at like the first Spider-Man game as like their Iron Man, and the second Spider-Man game is like Civil War. So they're
okay,
like, well, where do you think we go from there? And basically, the third game is going to be like the Infinity War end game. So,
okay,
um,
okay.
but if
I'm just
also in
saying,
the
like,
game, go ahead.
oh, no, I cut you off. You go ahead. I go after you finish.
Well, the reason why I say that is because at the end of the game, they're setting up Cindy Moon as well, which a lot of people think
Mhm.
that she's going to have her own game. I think what they're going to do, I think we're going to get a sequel to Miles, and they're going to because how they introduce her through the story at the end of the I mean, they really don't show they show her back of her head, but that's it. But the way they're introducing her is through Miles and his story, because her Cindy's um,
That's sad.
father dating Rio Morales. So I
That's
think what's
wild.
going to happen is going to be like the first game for Peter and Miles, where Miles is the dom. Because at the end of the game, Peter's kind of like taking a back step, while Miles is kind of becoming more of the main Spider-Man for New York. And
Yeah.
so Cindy will show up, and she'll get her whatever that'll be developed. She'll kind of be the underwing for Miles, and maybe in the third game we'll play as Cindy, Miles, and Peter and whatnot.
I'm just saying, like, and Peter's my favorite Spider-Man. He will always be my favorite. Miles,
Mhm.
he's cool. He's the GOAT too. But like in this third game, I need I don't even need. I want Peter. I want Peter to go out so Miles can take that final step into being the main Spider-Man. But if they take Peter out, if they take my GOAT out, he better go out with a bang. He better go out with a
Well,
bang.
right. So basically, you're okay with them killing off Peter as
Of
long as
course.
Peter go out in a blazing
I
glory.
don't think they're
Yeah.
going to go that route. I don't think they're going to go that route because the way they're
Well,
setting
well,
up the game,
yeah.
because they in one of the smaller missions, which by the way, bro, that pigeon you played the pigeon story yet on
That
Marvel?
was sad. That
Dude,
was sad.
I was in tears, bro. I was like, y'all hated on this dude
Nah, for
back
real.
in the first game. But
I never really I was never annoyed by him. I always thought he was cool. I ain't gonna lie.
oh, I remember when the first game came out. Oh my God, people were hated that mission because it was
Yeah.
because the way you had to get the pigeons and whatnot. But there's another one kind of like that where basically you have to help this the granddaughter find the grandfather, because he's kind of like wander off, and then it's here or there you can play as Peter or Miles, but it's better as Peter. But the way they introduced that, because Peter was asking about how did you propose to your wife, because he's going over back in his past and whatnot, because sitting on a bench and looking over a pond. And because the reason why Peter's asking that is because Peter is going to propose to MJ, which I think, and then also if you collect all the spider bots, one of the spider bots is May Parker, and that's hinted to basically Peter I think might get May Parker in this universe.
And even if we don't, even if Peter doesn't die, bro, give him May Parker. I just want to see, like, bro, I'm telling, like, because in the comics and stuff, like, whenever May happens, there's always something that messes it up. Like, when May Parker is born and stuff like that, bro. And that's why I like the Insomniac games and comics, because they like, Peter suffers, but it's not like bad. He's still, he is still able to enjoy himself, like, be an adult. So just give this man May Parker. Give him his happy ending with him marrying MJ.
Well, even in Ultimates, like they really didn't just kill. They didn't unalive Spider-Man. Like he came back and was trying to take up the mantle, but then realized that Miles is that dog. So they had
that man gone.
So he basically, passed the mantle. But it was a glory. I love that comic panel because it was Peter and Miles, and it's basically how the original Ultimate Spider-Man ended, where they're fighting Goblin and Peter dies and whatnot. But he
gives them the web shooters and they drive off and stuff like that.
Yeah, and in the Ultimate thing, Miles and Peter fight Green Goblin, and Miles is just showing how much that dog he got in him. And
Miles was no different him, bro. he was beating the mess out of Green Goblin. It was actually sad.
Okay, back to the Spider-Man thing. I ask you this question: when I played as Peter fighting Venom, I had a very difficult time, but when I played as Miles, I fought it with ease.
I don't know. I feel like they kind of tweaked the difficulty on that one. I don't know.
Dude, he was like flying with wings and spitting out stuff and throwing stuff at Miles. All Venom was doing for Peter was just following him around and jumping around at the, which I do appreciate. They took it back to the high school because I was predicting they were going to do that, but which is pretty dope.
That's another thing I feel like. Oh, go ahead.
Well, the thing I've always disliked about final boss battles is sometimes they'll just make it stupidly difficult just to make it stupidly difficult.
Hey, Boruto fan, it's not crazy because Kraven is him. Kraven is him, bro.
Okay.
Kraven, like even if you go in the comics, Kraven got that dog in him.
What?
Kraven don't play.
It's crazy that Kraven made light work of the other villains.
Because
I see
Kraven. He do this for fun.
Yeah.
It's Miles Peter's apprentice.
Yeah. Miles is Peter's apprentice. Like, yeah. I disagree. I don't think Kraven was lame. I think Kraven was done really well in that game. I don't think he should have got killed off, but the way they did it, it was justified. It was done right. It was done in a good way.
I love that. I love that whole everything. When we got to play Venom and we're just going wrecking Oscorp. We're just wrecking Oscorp, picking up agents and flinging them across. Dude, I was like, I don't want this to stop. And then we go to Times Square and we're fighting off Kraven's goons, cop goons, Oscorp goons. I mean, Venom just a night. I don't even know how Peter and Miles, to be honest with you, took him down. But like when we fought Kraven, the big difference between, because when we fight Kraven as Peter originally, it was very difficult. But as Venom, boy, I'm telling you. And then when he got on that big screen, and Kraven was like, I'm done. There's no way. He accepted his defeat. And Venom walked up to him like a boss, picked him up, and he bit his. Oh, I was like, bro, let's go.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think Kraven was really, really, really cool because Kraven, he was stepping over his territory. He was doing cool stuff. Don't get me wrong. But when he got the Venom, bro, that man not touching Venom.
All right, fellas. So it's been a pleasure. Thanks for the discussion.
Yeah, no. I just want to start off by saying, because again, this game is the best game that I've ever played in my life, and I will go as far as to say that this is the best Spider-Man movie story of all time. To me personally, the best. And I just love how.
And I will go as far as say this too.
Like, how can I put it? Can we just talk about how big of a menace Jerry Lowenthal was in this game when he had that symbiote? Like, the fact he really looked his own friend dead in the eye and was like, why don't you go pop down how many pills and tell us how you really feel? I'm like, all right then.
Dude, I was pissing everybody off when I was playing that game because every time when he was in that suit and just saying what he was saying, dude, I was just cheering the whole time. I was like, bully Yuri, bro. Like I'm ready for that.
Bully law.
And then that one part of the game where Craven and them have him all tied up, and they're jumping him, and that man just yells. That man Peter, he just yells, and he's like, just start beating him up. But that was just crazy.
Nah, that bro. The best thing about my favorite moment in this game is two parts actually. Is the beginning opening scene where Peter's just like, I'm so getting fired, and the second part is the Miles versus Peter fight, because that fight was just, oh my god, that fight was so good.
And I'm gonna answer your question real quick, Johnny G's. And this is in my opinion. I don't think the Arkham fans are ready to have this discussion, but
oh no, I'm ready.
You should have been on my live yesterday.
The Spider-Man trilogy, in my opinion, with this Spider-Man 2 game, surpassed all of the Arkham games.
Oh, that's a fact.
So this is what I was explaining to everyone yesterday, because I did a live on this yesterday. To compare Arkham games with the Spider-Man games, it's like night and day. Like, you can't really compare the two because they're two type of, yes, they're both superheroes in their own respectful right. But when it comes to tone, storytelling, like, now Spider-Man 2 does dab into that a little bit, but that's only specific to that type of, story they have to go to. Like, they're going to go to darker elements in the third game, of course, but they're not going to do what they did in the second game, because they called for that story. So to compare the Arkhamverse with now when we're talking about just overall gaming and whatnot, that's a different discussion though. But yeah. I agree. I think that, because I saw when I finished the game, I went on Twitter and someone was saying, this doesn't still top Arkham City. I'm like, you're nuts. Yeah, you're nuts.
I guess you say that.
Nah. This is what I'm gonna say. And this is a person who loves the Arkham trilogy. Like, the Arkham trilogy is perfect. Don't get me. I don't like Batman, but I love those games. Those games are perfect. So I will say
that's my boy Jane down there.
It's like night and day. I will agree, but I don't know. I feel like I enjoy the Spider-Man games way more than I did the Arkham games.
Yeah,
but
also
I can go back any day and go play Spider-Man PS4 in the 2018. But like, I can't really force myself to go back and play Arkham City. I'm not gonna lie.
That's the thing about this game. It's like, oh, go ahead, Jane.
I wanted to come up and ask you. So, when you guys were talking earlier, and you were saying how like Venom was attacking Miles, but like not really like attacking Peter, like just chasing him. You gotta remember, Venom didn't want to kill Peter. He wanted to recruit Peter, right? They talk about how like the goal isn't complete to heal the world without his best friend, and that's Peter. And Miles feels like Venom feels like Peter betrayed him and abandoned him, and Miles is the cause of that. That's why he was trying to kill Miles and just going after Peter, because he wanted Peter on his side, not to kill him.
My thing was with the fight, though, because and also everyone that's in this live, whoever can come on the live stream, please come on, because I love having this discussion.
No,
but I was saying, like, it felt like to me, the Peter fight between Venom and Peter was way more tougher and harder than it was with Miles. I feel like Miles, I was at more. I don't know if it was more my gameplay. I guess I don't know, but like, it was 10 times way better of a fight between Venom and Miles. I think that goes to show, and even in the comics, like Miles, I know I sound like I'm trying to put Miles on this high pedestal, but bro, I'm telling you, I keep trying to tell people, and I've been reading I read every issue of Miles. Miles got that dog in him. I keep trying
Thank you! I am not the only one! Thank you!
Wait, people be arguing that, bro? Wait, people be
arguing that? Jaden, real quick, because I promise you, right? Because this is what I've said to people, right? Because I'm like, this is the way I see the story, right? Focusing on the story for Spider-Man 2, especially with the post-credit scene and everything. This is how I took the story, right? The story for this game is like, yeah, we're focusing on the Harry thing and everything, but to me, while it was a Peter Parker story, this story felt more like a passing on the mantle to Miles than it being a full-on Peter Parker story. Because think about it. This man, Peter, took so many L's in this game. He almost got by Sandman. He got shanked by freaking Craven and died. He took a 1W against Lizard. He lost to Miles. He got dog walked by Venom. Like, Miles beat the dog crap out of Peter. He beat the dog crap.
You also gotta hold on. You also gotta remember though. You gotta remember though is fucking Venom is like on the whole. It's harder. The fight was harder for Peter. Venom, mind you, Spider-Man can't sense Venom like Peter and Miles aren't able to sense Venom.
Exactly.
Right. So like, also I think that's a weird that's like a weird like gameplay error that you have this spider sense when fighting Venom because like I feel like it'd be better if you just judged based off of it. Give me one.
But when he was,
I'm gonna say this real quick.
Hold on.
Now, Miles is that dog, bro. Don't get me wrong, but that fight with him and Peter did have context.
All right, like I was saying, mind
I
you,
want to hear this.
It would have been better. Yeah, it would have been better if like the fight, like you had to judge, like you the player had to judge when to dodge because like in canon, like we all know this, Peter the Spider Sense can't sense Venom, but like Venom has always been like significantly stronger than Peter, and like in the comics, at least right now, Miles is stronger than Peter, so it makes sense from the standpoint. Like from a certain standpoint, that the fight would be harder for Peter, like because Venom is not only significantly stronger than Spider-Man, but like Peter also is significantly holding back because he doesn't want to kill Harry. Like Dr. Connors says, he's gonna have to kill Harry, but then Norman's like, "Save my boy," and he puts his hand on his shoulder and nods. So like I feel like that's a reason is he was letting like Venom / Harry get it out on him, not wanting to kill Harry, but that's why he's like, "Harry, you're better than this. Harry, think about all the good we've done and the good we are gonna do."
Yeah,
he wasn't trying to kill Harry and Venom.
Speaking of Connors,
y'all, real quick, I don't mean to cut in, but I literally just beat the Lizard. I ain't where y'all at. I ain't like y'all. I ain't built like y'all.
I ain't like y'all.
I beta test.
This is perfect.
So I had the game like almost 5 months before I beta test. So I had the game like 5 months before it came out. So it's alright, bro. We understand.
Right, I'm gonna have to check out.
Perfect.
I ain't built like y'all.
This is perfect though. You played when we fought. You completed the Lizard part, right?
I just beat the Lizard.
Can we talk about the fact how disrespectful Peter is in that symbiote suit?
Oh my God.
As he's fighting a lizard,
no wonder your family left you.
Oh my God.
This is why your wife and kid left you because you can't control yourself or something like that. I was like,
no, in verbatim what he said was, I quote, "You're too weak to fight off the Lizard Siren, aren't you? No wonder your family left you." I'm like, God dang.
No wonder your son is too embarrassed to see you. Just like,
I mean, that whole dialogue on his way to go save Miles, him talking about, "Oh, Miles thinks he's better than me. I'm the only Spider-Man." I'm like, come on, bro. It's like,
no. You know what I find so funny about the scene before that, though?
Peter did everything.
When like he goes to visit Rio, and Rio's like, "I'm trying to look for Miles," and he's like, "I'll find him. I'm gonna call the cop." I said I'll find him, and she looked at her like, "Who are you yelling at, boy?"
And then she was talking about how like all Miles talks about is being a better Spider-Man. All he talks about is wanting to help you, not school, nothing else.
And then he looked at her like, "Dang, even with the black suit, you can't beat the Latina mom, bro."
That was funny, brother. She said, "Man, who you talking to?"
Like, I will fight you. I don't care about
Peter
this.
was tripping in that black suit, bro.
There is one thing I want to discuss since Jane's here, and since like we on the whole spoiler thing is because no one, and I've done like 2-3 lives, Jaden, and no one's ready to have the conversation because it feels like I'm the only one who's like really pays attention to the foreshadowing that Insomniac has given, which is no one's ready for the conversation. I guarantee you by the next game, Peter gonna die.
I
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm not saying that's not a scenario, but if you pay attention to also the foreshadowing and the side missions as well, is that they're setting up the fact that Peter's thinking about proposing to MJ. Also the fact that also
May
this
Parker.
May Parker as well. That's also been hinted at. Plus, we don't know the whole Spider-Verse angle they're going with too. We don't know what they're going to do with that.
which is crazy because they previously said that the Spider-Verse movies are not connected to the games.
Nah, because Jaden, how many times were I like, nah, I know this is canon, bro. I promise you, there's gonna be some type of it's still connected. Like, y'all,
I just think it's crazy, right?
I
Miles, I
Insomniac
just think it's
Spider-Man, he was-
crazy. Oh, go ahead.
Insomniac. Oh, my bad. I said Insomniac Spider-Man. He was literally in what was it? On to the Spider-Verse or something
No,
like
no,
that.
no. He was, but they stated that that's like not like that's not the game. Like that's not Insomniac Spider. That's just some like even though it literally says Insomniac Spider-Man, the directors of the game said it's not directly related to the Spider-Verse movies.
And I feel like they did, but honestly, Jaden, I feel like they did or said that because, like, think about what like most companies like that do like different games. Like, there be times where like a game coming out like way before like after the movie, and people see that character from said game in the movie. They'll be like, oh yeah, this gotta be connected. But the directors be like, no, it's not. And 9 times out of 10, they say it's not canon because they want to surprise the fans and be like, we can't just straight up confirm and say, yeah, no, this is canon, because then that's going to be a massive spoiler for the plot in the game.
Yeah,
Someone better tell us
that is
what
true.
comics that they better fill out there.
I will give you that. That is true. I just like I don't want them to do I don't want them to do the whole Sydney Mean route, to be completely honest. I feel like especially, mind you, right, not confirming anything, mind you, if they do kill off Peter, okay, but like having 3 spider people in the game, I feel like is like, you know how like when games can like add too much or like it's doing too much, like it makes the game worse than better. I feel like having 3 spider people might be doing too much. But like fuck, what was my original thing I was gonna say was notice how, like, mind you, I only work with Sony, and like I was telling people, I was like, yeah, this is gonna, like, I wasn't spoiling, but like, this was gonna happen, this was gonna happen, this was gonna happen, and they doubted me, and then everything I said was 100% true.
The only thing I push back with is that if we look at the landscape of Spider-Man, preferably Peter Parker, the biggest complaint that everyone has, even including myself, is that ever since One More Day, they have not tried to, or even I would say argue before that, is that they haven't evolved the character. They keep putting him back to date, back to base one. But here's why I'm saying this, because recently they've been trying to go outside of that and give Parker more to, evolve from. Like, for instance, they got the Ultimate Spider-Man stuff that's coming out in the comics, which is putting him in that situation. I think what's going to happen is that I think it would be kind of a cop-out to kill him off in the 3rd game, because we've already had that story before. And we've seen before.
What year was One More Day?
Huh?
What year was One More Day? What year was that again?
That was 2007. No, 2008.
Then I would have to disagree with them not trying to develop the character more, add on to him, because the whole, like, the Amazing Spider-Man 2018 run was him doing that. It was them developing him. And then
but that's what I'm saying, though. They'll do that. Yes, they'll do that, but then like the next run, they'll bring him back to, like, for instance, they were doing that perfectly, like right after the Superior Spider-Man stuff, but then soon when Peter got his body back, they were just kind of bringing it back to like bases of him, living in an apartment. I can't remember the roommates. It was Robbie's son and the other dude.
I agree. I agree. I definitely agree with you. I do think that's why, like, I'm really disappointed in his current run, because they took all his runs from Back in Black and everything and just threw it in the trash, and like it never happened. I definitely agree.
Yeah, and that's my thing, is that that's the thing they're doing smart with Miles, and that's why Miles is dominating right now, is that they're evolving that character.
Oh yeah, no, Miles dominating the game for sure.
Current Miles in the comics, bro. This man can literally turn his bioelectricity into a red sword. That man is him.
Yeah. He is him.
Playing Star Wars.
Bro playing Star Wars.
But
Yeah, no.
did you see his
Current
fight with
Miles in the
Hobgoblin?
comics is wanked crazy right now. Yeah,
No,
current Miles is.
what had me dead because like I stay up to date with every run, even if I don't have the physical copy of Miles. I always find a way to freaking like stay up to date with every Spider-Man comic book, right? So I remember, I was having this man Miles up because there's one comic book, I think it was like issue 20 or something, where he was fighting like that girl that had like tinkerer powers or whatever, or electricity or technology powers, and
Mhm.
he summoned lightning from the sky, and it's like he was Zeus. So when I mentioned this to somebody, he was like, this person was like, "Whoa, first off, Miles wasn't summoning lightning from the sky. He just freaking charged up his Venom Blast so much to the point where it came from the sky." I'm like, it's not the same thing.
What?
That's wild.
Yo,
That's crazy. It's crazy. I like, bro, like Miles in that fight with Hobgoblin when he lost his Spidey sense, and that man was going blow for blow with an amped Hobgoblin, using his bioelectricity as a sword to knock that man out, bro. Perfect comment, bro.
But also,
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
think his spider sense is gone. I think
Oh, no,
Miles
it's
is having a
working again.
Peter moment.
No, it's working again. He's trying to change it and make it better. He's training it to like be
No,
better.
that's what I'm saying. Like he didn't like because a lot of people thought like he lost his spider sense, blah blah blah. I'm like he didn't lose his spider sense. He just had a Peter moment to where it's like he's not really believing in the power of in his own ability, and because he's letting his emotions get the better of him, it's causing a mental block.
That's literally what's happening because it's been shown in the like issues before about him had like dealing with his life at school and then dealing with his girlfriend and everything that he was definitely having a Peter moment. He was not there.
That's why, like, whenever it comes to like to Miles as a character and like the knowledge to like know about him, I always tell people either come if you want to know stuff about Miles from top to bottom, either come to me or my boy Jaden. We like the best people to talk to about Miles because we know this man off the top of our head like it's nothing.
Okay, with all that to be said, though, can I ask you this question?
Go ahead.
How are we feeling about the new suit?
I love it.
I just
I love
trash.
the new suit. I mean, it's mind you, don't take into account of it being a Spider-Man, so you got to remember the expressiveness of Miles Morales. I think it fits his character perfectly. Now maybe its design like just doesn't fit you, but like I don't know.
That suit sucks, bro. Now this is my thing with this suit. This is my nitpick. The colors, I love the colors. I love how he has his hair out. That's fire. The hood, peak, bro. That's clean. The shoes, though.
Oh yeah, the shoes ass. The shoes ass. Let's not even talk about that. The shoes ass.
Miles was cooking up with that suit, but then just threw on the shoes. Like, come on.
I
now.
just
What
don't
is he
hope
doing?
it's his main suit. Like
That's
the red and black is really like a staple point, I think, of Miles, and so I just hope they don't make it his main suit.
and I agree. I do think that suit was like the expressiveness, the expressiveness of Miles Morales. I definitely agree with that.
And everything.
I
But
don't know.
the
He looked like he came out of the 90s, to be honest with you.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Crazy.
I like how I do like how he has his hair out. That's clean. The hood is clean, but the shoes, bro, the shoes.
The shoes ass. I'll give you that. The shoes
Yeah,
ass.
he's not cooking with the shoes, bro.
No.
And I never really understood it because the whole reason why Peter wore a suit, when he was wearing Spider-Man with no shoes, is because that's how the stickiness of his hands and feet work. How do you like do that with shoes on? How?
Well, the thing is that is true, but you got to remember this. Spider-Man can make any part of his body sticky.
yeah.
Do they explain that? I think because I read all of the Miles, but it's been a while. But like, didn't they like bring that up at one point? They explained that.
Yeah, like you can make Spider-Man can make any part of his like body sticky. Like that's how he like will like sit on walls or sit on ledges, like where his feet are on the ledge, but also like his behind's on the ledge because he can make any part of his body sticky. It wouldn't make sense when he's sitting up against the glass for just his feet to be sticky,
Yeah.
I'll say one thing. That one thing I do wish they would, put some more emphasis on is the spider senses, because if we really look back at the old days of Spider-Man, like his spider senses were godlike. Like the way he
dodging lasers,
he
dodges at one point. He dodges time travel, which like is crazy.
Bro, if you got to read read Miles' current run, Bro, he's making his Spider sense better. It's getting better, bro. It's
Yeah, no,
perfect, bro.
he's
That's what I'm
training
saying.
it.
I'm
You don't
sorry.
even have to
Like
calls anymore, man. Like, yeah, no.
I like Peter. I like Peter more, but bro, currently Miles is way better. He's way better right now.
Oh, I'm not
Yeah,
denying that.
but you also got to
I'm
remember,
not denying
you got to remember though, Peter is like physically stronger than Miles still, because like the strength of your spider grows with age. So like,
Yeah.
well, Peter's physically stronger. Miles is like more agile. Miles has obviously more abilities. So like,
He's faster.
Miles has the edge over Peter right now. That's for sure.
Miles is faster too.
But
His
also,
cut-
like, even
Miles is
without,
faster.
but that thing too, because like, well, I can't stand about like a lot of Peter's stand, and don't get me wrong, like Peter's cool, but I can't stand the stands of him because like a lot of them really don't understand that like a lot of them bring up whenever it's like Miles versus Peter, they always bring up, well, if it wasn't for the bioelectricity, Miles wouldn't have won a fight against Peter. Miles can't win against Peter
That's not true at all. That's not true at all.
in a 1v1 fight. But I'm like, did we not read the Clone Saga for Miles Morales where this man was literally going blow for blow, punch for punch with Peter Parker himself and not using bioelectricity?
I would say this.
Even when he was invisible, Peter was like Peter didn't even know where Miles was.
It was raps for Peter during that time. It was
And
I would
raps.
say this.
literally threw, like, was dodging this man's punches and then throwing back at him. Like, Miles beat him in a physical one-on-one strength blow for blow battle. It's just the Venom Blast is his little freaking last resort just in case things get like hectic.
I would say this.
I want to
This
circle
is-
back to that because, but before we get to that, let's talk about the DLC for a second because a lot of people are bringing it up in the chat, and I have my theories with it as well.
Carnage.
I've been saying, yeah, the first DLC gonna be Carnage.
Carnage, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I don't know because
I think Insomniac, because I told them this, I think they've walked themselves into a corner by killing off a bunch of the villains.
well, there's so many other villains they could still use though.
There is, and I think there's a bunch of other villains. Like if you read the prequel comics or you read Spider-Geddon, there's a bunch of other villains. I just think they've walked themselves into a corner by killing a bunch of them.
I'm not even talking about the
Jack-O-Lantern in the
comics. I'm
game.
talking about like in just the Rose Gallery. Like he has so many more in his comics.
No,
They
that's
don't go-
what I'm talking. I mean, the Insomniac comics is what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, in general, like they could pull from anything if they wanted to. They have,
That is true.
there
Because
is
they
also
also-
in the prequel comics to the before Spider-Man 2, which I forgot his name, but he was in the comic book. Dog, get out, yo, stop.
they also had Killian in the game as well. He pops up.
Chameleon,
they did.
Chameleon.
Yeah, and Chameleon, I'm glad they added Chameleon because he was Spider-Man's very first villain in the comics, like OG comics. The first villain is Chameleon. So,
But Zane, since you do work with Insomniac, I did state this on my stream to one of my friends because I think you can actually like. Wow, you say Insomniac put themselves in a corner. I actually don't think they put themselves in a corner, but I think they actually did something that could really work because you do know that like once you get to the certain mission in the lizard, there's that symbol that refers to Null, the symbiote god, right?
yes, there is.
Now,
Yes, there
this is what I'm
is.
thinking, right? Just give them this idea, Jane. Just give them this idea. If they do a third game, or if they want to do a DLC, I would say save it for the third game, just because I feel like the third game's gonna be like the Infinity War / Endgame. But you can do this, right? So you got Rhino who's dead. You have Electro, Scorpion, Kraven, and
Rhino's not official. Rhino's not official.
I'm just gonna say he's dead for the hell of it. But you have them who are dead, right? Now, if you bring in No,
No,
now I gotta go back to the because I'm not sure if he did this in a comic book, but if he didn't, this would be a cool opportunity to make their own version of No to where
no.
has his powers, right? He has his powers. By the time the third game comes around for a final battle, No uses his abilities to make Vulture, Scorpion, Kraven, and Electro and Shaka symbiote zombies.
Red Goblin.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna just say
Red
this real
Goblin.
quick.
Bring
I'm
them
just gonna say-
back, and then
I'm
you
just gonna
have
say real
the
quick.
Carnage symbiote if he's going to be in the third game, right? Plus,
if
with
they
Green
bring
Goblin, you can turn Green Goblin, have 3 boss fight stages to the Green Goblin fight. Stage 1 where he's on the glider and you're fighting Goblin on the glider. Stage 2 where you're fighting on, let's say, like the Manhattan Bridge, and then Stage 3 he injects himself with another Goblin Green, but it turns him into a giant goblin, and the Carnage symbiote attaches itself to him, making him Ultimate Red Goblin.
Well, my only thing with that though is that I would love to see Peter
Yeah,
and Green Goblin have.
When you think about it,
No, I'm gonna say this real quick. If they bring Nolan in the game, they better nerf him. Because I'm sorry to say this, Peter and Miles are not beating Noel. If you guys read the comics with Noel, Peter and Miles are not.
Okay,
They're
so
not.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because there's been some recent stuff that they're hinting at future content for like other heroes as well, like Wolverine. They're also
Fantastic Four.
yeah,
Daredevil.
also
Yeah.
Daredevil. Yeah, there's now. Granted, I still don't think they still take on Noel. Don't get me wrong. No, but well, maybe.
No, sir. So if they bring Noel in, they better nerf Noel
Also,
so
you
bad.
forget the Avengers are in the Insomniac universe.
where
Yeah,
are
they
the
never show
Avengers?
up. But
That's
they never
what
show up.
That's
They're
all.
quote unquote on vacation, which is crazy because like you figure the city's getting overtaken, yet they're on vacation.
Hold on, wait. Before, wait, hold on. Peak of Venom did not kill Noel. We don't know if 616 Noel is dead or alive, so we don't know. We're just going
Yeah,
on
but
speculation.
that's all I want to hear Peter say next game if the Avengers don't show up. Is just have Yuri Lowenthal or Miles pull a whole freaking Ultimate comic book moment and be like, okay, this is just getting ridiculous. Where the hell are the X-Men and the Avengers? Why am I doing this by myself?
Now I will say this: I do think like people don't understand. I'm a major Daredevil fan. If they drop a Daredevil game, it's over.
Oh my god, Daredevil comes out with a game, bro. I'm gonna cry. I was
It's coming. It's coming.
Bro, that Wolverine game, bro. I can't wait for that game. That game about to be fire.
Wolverine's gonna go hard.
Facts, bro. Now Insomniac cooking, bro. Keep giving Insomniac the Marvel games, bro. Keep letting them cook. They keep
No, bro, they gave someone else. Bro, they gave someone. Listen, they gave someone else the fucking Black Panther and fucking Iron Man. I'm so glad they're not canon to Insomniac because those games are about to be ass.
No,
Sorry.
one Marvel character I do want to see Insomniac take on though, and I feel like they can do a great job with him. I got two in mind.
You gonna say Moon Knight? You gonna say Moon Knight?
Nuh-uh, not even Moon Knight. Ghost Rider and Blade.
Yes, sir. Yes. Make it
Tell
happen.
me they wouldn't do a great job with a Blade game, bro. Come on now.
Now you know
Nah,
King
Blade,
Lion
bro.
will be making videos after video after that when
Oh
that game
my,
comes out.
bro, I do not like King Lion, bro. I'm sorry.
What?
I might be the only
Crap,
one, bro.
Jaden, you don't get dang.
No, I'm sorry.
Y'all get ready for the popcorn. Get ready for the popcorn,
I
Jaden.
just-
You got triggered. You called in. You don't do us all. Damn.
Bro.
I'm just joking,
don't
bro.
summon
bro,
the
bro.
King One
Hold
over.
on, hold on. Let
I'm
me
like,
show y'all,
Jaden, you
bro.
know the one
Bro,
moment
King
you said
Lion
you don't
follows
see,
me.
you
Bro,
gotta
King
pop
Lion
up.
follows me on TikTok and Instagram. I'm just joking.
Dang, bro, don't kill us all that.
Okay.
I got you good though.
Hold on.
That's kind of bold.
Yo, listen, because they just asked in the comments the theories on the Wolverine game. I want to beat up Sabretooth. I want to fight Sabretooth.
Fight Sabretooth.
Yeah,
Where
and this is the thing.
in the game anyway?
And they said that the game is gonna be rated M. So I want to be able to take heads off, arms. I
Well,
want
they
to
already confirmed dismemberments and freaking arm cutting off and all that stuff. They already confirmed all that.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh, we
they
get a
confirmed
live
it's rated
stream
M.
playing
Hold on.
Wolverine.
Look at my green screen. I ain't lying though.
Right.
I ain't lying. I'm just joking.
I was on live with King. Yes, last night we were talking about comic books and stuff.
bro, can y'all stop saying Peter was nerfed, bro? He was not nerfed in that game.
not nerfed, bro.
Bro, Venom is just stronger than Spider-Man.
And then
That's always how it's been.
Bro, no, that's,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say earlier. Because like going back to that Peter and Miles fight, right? A lot of freaking Peter stands be like, well, Peter was nerfed. Peter was holding back that whole entire fight with the symbiote. He wasn't trying to kill Miles. I'm like, that man was bloodlusted. Miles beat him fair and square. Yes, there's a lot of comments like he had the belt, but Miles beat him fair and square.
Yeah. Miles beat him. Nah, he did beat him, but like he wasn't bloodlusted because Peter, that whole fight was mentally nerfed, and he was trying to fight off Venom as he was trying to fight off the symbiote on him as he was fighting Miles. So Miles did beat him fair and square. Like Miles is the guy. He's that guy. But I do think that people were definitely trying to like say Peter was nerfed when he wasn't nerfed, bro. He wasn't. And
Nah,
like
nah, he nerfed.
He wasn't really fighting
I'm
Peter.
one of those
Yes, he
people.
was.
Hmm?
No, the comment says P33LVVVY said he wasn't real. I mean, he wasn't really fighting Peter, and I'm like, yes, he was.
no,
Even if he was fighting Peter, let's say he was. That's still Miles still would have won that fight.
I had to disagree.
Because here's why I say that. Because even without the symbiote suit, you're still dealing with the fact that Peter is dealing with a lot at that moment of time, dealing with Harry in that situation, and the fact that it's like, for instance, let me point out a perfect example.
It's literally plot armor, though. Everyone
No,
that
it's not, bro. You guys gotta remember, Peter's mentally conflicted.
Exactly.
Like you
Let me
see in that
explain
fight, bro.
something.
As you're fighting him, he's
explain
telling
something.
Miles like he
Let me-
doesn't
hold
want to
on,
hurt
hold
him
on.
and shit. Like,
Hold on. Let me explain something to everyone this live. I love Peter. Don't get me wrong. I'm out of all the Marvel characters, like I'm a Spider stan. I love Spider-Man all around. I grew up on Spider-Man, all of it. I'm currently rereading all the freaking issues that ever came out when it came to the Amazing Spider-Man and all that. But anyway, my point is that if we look at Peter in the Zombie games, between Miles and to Spider-Man 2, he's getting tired. He's getting to a point where like he could not fit, like look at all the times in the Spider-Man 2. If it wasn't for Miles being there, Peter would have had people's lives lost. He would not save people. If it wasn't for either Harry coming in, helping him with the whole roller coaster thing, or Miles coming in, even when he was focused on Mr. Negative, he still came in to save the day because Peter could not get all those people off the boat or the deck, wherever it was. And a lot of that was Miles.
No,
My point is, Miles is more younger. He has more agility, just like you're saying. He's more quicker. Yes, his mentality.
Hold on.
bro. Wait, hold on, my guy.
Even if it was Miles alone wouldn't have been able to save all those people on that boat scene. Like that was just physically that was just impossible for one person to do alone. Which is why when there was multiple people sliding down, he called Miles. Even if Miles was there by himself, those people would have been dead.
So if this was Peter 8 years ago, would
and
you
this
say
goes back to like the whole Peter Nerf thing. Like I saw a video on TikTok, which I'm gonna make a video on because I'm just gonna debunk the whole entire video. But one of the videos I saw was somebody saying, "Oh yeah, he was nerfed because you mean to tell me Peter wasn't able to Peter was gonna let a lady and her baby die and burn to death, and he couldn't lift up a freaking two freaking roller coasters, but he was able to lift up a crane in the first game." I'm like,
bro, he was literally being crushed at the same time, bro.
And I'm
what
like,
are you talking about?
I was like, first off, he wasn't nerfed. Two, let's look at this scene verbatim. In fact, let's go by the scene verbatim, right? We have the hunters who were at Coney Island. Peter has to fight off the hunters. One of the missiles the missile that he throws back hits the freaking the rails and the track. So now Peter has to worry about not only dodging the hunter's attacks, but also saving these people that are on the roller coasters, which he does do, by the way. It's just the last two roller coasters that he had to get. First off, he had both of them with two hands, but then the big old thing behind him falls on top of him. So now he's left with one hand while also using the other hand to hold up the freaking roller coaster ride.
Okay, but then where's the Peter from the first game though? Because he had broken bones, taking on the Sinister Six in the first game.
That's not comparable to literally being
Right, but that's the thing. He didn't make up a crane in the first game. He didn't have to really worry about anything else besides from just getting like
Yes, yes, he
Real.
did because the Devil's Breath was going rampant. He had all his Rose Gallery going rampant in New York City. He's worried about May. He's worried about MJ. He's worried about Miles. He's got broken bones,
That's
and
not comparable.
then he also Doc Ock as well. That alone is just as
Some
mentally
ass, bro.
draining as Harry.
Charlotte, that's not comparable to
Hold
the
on.
scene in Coney.
But
So
my
are you
point
telling-
is,
are you telling me-
Peter was able to still come out on top with all of that together.
Because he had time to go out there and fight them. Like when he took on Rhino and Scorpion, he had time to beat them. You know, he's beaten them before. That's easy. Boom, boom. Them two are gone. It was Rhino and Scorpion, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rhino's.
He took them out. That was easy. They're gone. The same thing with Martin Lee. When Martin Lee got took out when he fought him with Silver Sable and all that. Like he had after he he said he had no broken bones. Yes, his bones was broken. And, he could still go and fight. It's not like he was instantly immobile.
He had 14 non-broken ones.
But I think bringing up the whole broken bones thing is not comparable to him literally being crushed as he's trying to lift something else. I don't think that's comparable.
Yeah,
But my
no,
point-
yeah, bro.
my
He was
point
literally
why I
being
brought
crushed
it
trying
up.
to lift something else, bro.
But my point why I'm bringing that up, he's coming from the fact that he just realized that Doc Ock is now being Doc Ock. That's literally hours away from having that. You have New York City like in hell right now. Then he's taking on he has the fact that Sinister Six is going crazy. You got Electro over here messing with the cops. You got Ryan over here messing with the cops. Lord knows what the Vulture and Scorpion are doing. Doc Ock is doing whatever. Mr. Negative is free. You have Devil's Breath currently doing what basically COVID-19 was doing. And the fact that he's worrying about all that, also physically drained as well and mentally drained, and he's still doing all that all in one night. Well, kind of one night and one day, but that's besides the point.
Well, I
My
would say
point
it's
is-
the whole thing with Devil's Breath. His suit protected him from getting Devil's Breath when he was doing
at
more
the end,
research
though.
on it.
But that
That
was
was
at the end, though. We had prep
that was-
time, by the way.
That was after MJ had told him about it before he fought Doc Ock.
But I'm saying that's prep time. That was prep time, though.
How is that prep?
Because if he knew for a fact how he literally helped build Doc Ock, the arms was because of Peter as well. Peter played a part in that. Literally, his suit.
Played part, bro. Peter did all of it.
Hold on, because I can even before we even do that, I can even make a point before then. We already know that his suit was protecting him from getting Devil's Breath. Literally, after Doc Ock sprayed it across that one part of New York, and he touched the residue of it, and he didn't catch Devil's Breath, his suit was literally protecting him from getting it.
Yeah, his suit has a respirator.
Yeah, that was
How would you do that? That's my thing. How would they do that?
His
would it
suit
do
has a
Has a
respirator.
respirator.
Whoa.
Whoa.
You gotta drop.
and come back.
Who?
Miles.
What?
You gotta drop.
and come back.
Oh, I got you, G. Hold on.
But that's my point.
But that's my point. Wait.
Hold on.
That's
You
my
were
point,
saying-
though. He had prep time because in order for him to have that suit, he had to know what he was doing. He had prep time to
No, but
figure
that's-
out how the suit works for his advantage,
Yeah.
taking on Devil's Breath and taking on Doc Ock. He
That's
knew
what
how
I'm
to do
saying
that.
though. He that's what I'm saying though. But like that whole scene, he knew of Devil's Breath, but he never prepped for Devil's Breath. When MJ was telling him about it, all Peter was worrying about after he heard about Devil's Breath was, I gotta go stop this. I can't let this get out. Once he let it spray out and get out, he never prepped to protect himself for Devil's Breath. His suit,
But no,
his
his
suit
suit
was built
previously
like that.
already had a respirator. You see this when you're doing
Exactly.
Harry's side missions, the labs, the side missions, his mom's
Exactly.
research stations. His suit has a
same
respirator
thing with
that
Scorpion.
blocks out pathogens such as Devil's Breath. So
Well, correct me if
Yeah,
I'm
like,
wrong. He
it's
went
his
back
suit.
to the lab and created the suit and knew how, because Peter is smart and
That was the-
intelligent. He went
That was
there.
the last fight.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's my point, though. That's like my point is
That's
that
before.
the Peter in the first game is not the same Peter we have in the second game.
I gotta disagree because I would have to disagree because the whole thing. Now the only thing I can agree on, I do think he was kind of nerfed in the first fight with the Sandman, but that's it. Other than that,
that's
I
not.
don't think-
You do realize you see Peter as you're playing as Miles overpowering Sandman in that fight. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, he
So
wasn't
how was
overpowering
he?
him
How was
until
he
got in the
nerfed?
water.
I'm not saying Peter was nerfed. I'm just saying compared.
No, I know someone said Peter's nerfed in the Sandman fight. How?
No, he wasn't nerfed.
Because when we play as him in the fight, he was getting like literally like demolished by Sandman.
But he
Peter would have
most
not
of the
won
fight,
that
like
fight,
when you're doing stuff as Miles, he's overpowering Sandman.
Nah, he wasn't really doing that to him until he got the water. It was really Miles. Once you switch to
Well,
Miles, he was really
before
doing
the
work.
water, like Sandman like keeps reaching and stuff, and Peter overpowers him and like knocks pieces of him off. Like he's constantly overpowering him in that fight.
Who?
Peter.
Did you not? Correct me if I'm wrong. Miles was throwing it back with that venom blast he has.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the whole thing, like Peter, or the only thing that Peter really did for like in that fight was when he was buying time for Miles and then getting the water. And that other than that, Miles carried. I ain't gonna lie, he really carried him. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, my point is that for instance, I'm not the same person that I was when I was 23 years old. I've gotten older and I've gotten tired, but I'm still in my 20s, obviously. But my point is, it makes sense that Peter is not the Peter we have in the second game compared to the first game is a little bit more tighter. I'm not saying he's weaker or nerfed. I'm just saying that there's that little bit of rustiness to the character. That's even prevalent in the Miles game when he's not even able to take down Rhino.
Yeah. And that's why I constantly tell people too when it comes to like Peter Parker, because like they bring up these moments like him being nerfed against Sandman and all these other things. I'm like, he's not nerfed. It's just the fact that, again, the whole aspect, even Peter says in himself, of this story is that like we clearly see that Peter is slowly starting to lose his touch as Spider-Man because he's losing against these villains like Sandman and other villains. But the most important thing is like throughout the game too, you can also see like he really is more worried about the mortgage for Aunt May's house and wants to be more of being more of Peter Parker than Spider-Man. This is why he says
hold on. But guys, you gotta remember, Spider-Man gets stronger with age. He's not losing his strength or losing his touch with being Spider-Man. Also, when you mentioned the fight, hold on. When you mentioned the fight in Miles Morales, like how he quote unquote lost to Rhino, he also previously, when you fight Rhino, right, and never previously lost to Rhino, during that fight in Miles Morales, goes through multiple city block level explosions.
No, he was being
he didn't just lose to Rhino. Rhino didn't hit him during that fight.
That doesn't make any sense because then you can say that about the first, like that. No, that does not.
Wait, how does that not make any sense? He doesn't previously go through multiple city block level explosions.
If Spider-Man was going through that, even in that game in his prime, he would not still gotten defeated. He still would have overpowered Rhino.
What do you? Whoa! That's not. There's no like basis behind that though. He goes through multiple city block like sized explosions.
Nothing stated in the games that says that he gets stronger as he gets older. That's never.
But that's stated like canonically, like as Spider-Man gets stronger as he gets older.
The comics isn't the game. That's the difference.
But just because it's not stated in the games, you take off what's already stated. There's no reason to just nullify that comment that's stated multiple times, like throughout, like Spider-Man.
You can't have it both ways with the comics and the game.
That's exactly why. Unless it's stated otherwise, you go off what is previously stated about Spider-Man, and we know that literally. You understand what you're saying, though, right? Every Spider-Man, right? Like every Spider-Man variation, like comics and whatnot, is stated, like right. Spider-Man himself is stated to get stronger with age, and that is consistent throughout all continuities. It's ironic. It's not ironic. It's disingenuous to say that PS4's like Insomniac Spider-Man doesn't get stronger with age, while all the other Spider-Man that exist get stronger with age.
So you're telling me the comic Peter is consistent every time, right?
I'm not saying he's consistent. I'm saying Peter Spider-Man gets stronger with age.
Okay. Are you reading the current? Are you reading the current Amazing Spider-Man run right now?
I do read current Spider-Man.
Yeah, but let me specify what I mean by Peter losing his touch in this game. When I mean losing his touch, I don't mean like physical strength, right? What I mean by losing his touch, I mean like he is being mentally drained. Like at this point, like, he's been Spider-Man for, if I'm not mistaken, this game takes place 3 years and 10 months after the Miles game. So Peter would be Spider-Man for 9 years at this point.
9, almost 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, 9 to almost 10 years. So he is mentally drained, but also keep in mind, he's dealing with the mortgage for Aunt May's house. He's worrying about that. He's constantly worried about his relationship with MJ due to what MJ stated in the prequel comic. So all this stuff built up, it's mentally drained him, and plus, like, his job as Spider-Man is getting exhausted, as we see. Like, he's getting exhausted about, like, his job as Spider-Man, which is why he even states to Miles, like, close to the end of the game, which is like, maybe MJ's right. Why would they need me as Spider-Man when they have you? Which is why I'm like, it makes sense for the ending of him retiring, because he's like, well, there's a whole new Spider-Man that's much more agile, who's like much more, who has a little more potential, who really isn't been drained or constantly mentally drained at this point, and I could just do my own thing of being Peter Parker now, while there is a Spider-Man out there protecting the city, so he doesn't have to really worry.
And I was gonna say too. I was gonna say this real fast. I was gonna say this real quick. For like to bring up the whole Rhino thing in the Miles Morales game is really kind of wild to me, considering the fact that Rhino was literally dragging Peter and Miles through multiple buildings, multiple cars.
That's exactly.
You don't think Peter hasn't done
And
that?
then at the end, he goes through like
Spider-Man?
six city block level explosions in a matter of seconds. Like, of course he.
You don't think he hasn't gone
And
through
the
that?
thing too, like you act like Rhino just knocked Peter out. No, it was the explosion that knocked Peter out.
Yeah,
Rhino
exactly.
didn't even do it himself.
Rhino didn't even hit Peter that entire fight. It was the multiple city block level
But y'all are
explosions.
acting like Peter never went through that for the 8 years he's been Spider-Man.
Okay,
That's what
but
you're like.
but canonically, right, in the prequel comics in Spider-Geddon, Peter's never lost a fight to Rhino except then. That's the first time that Rhino has thrown him through multiple city block level, like put him through city block level explosions simultaneously.
And also, if you want to bring up his 8 years before him being Spider-Man, the worst thing that has happened to him in his 8 years before he he was a really good Spider-Man, which was stated by MJ, was really him getting cut by Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, in his early years of being Spider-Man.
Exactly.
So you don't think Rhino wasn't wrecking house before, up until that point?
It's literally stated in the prequel. It's literally stated in the prequel comics. He's never lost to Rhino beforehand.
Okay, so why are they losing to him now?
Because Rhino never ran through multiple city block level like gas tankers simultaneously. Rhino isn't even the reason. Rhino isn't even the reason that Peter got knocked out. It's the multiple large explosions on top of each other.
No, Jaden, real quick. It's not in the multiple large explosions on why Peter got knocked out.
It was Roxxon.
No, hold on. Let me explain. Let me cook real quick. Let me cook. It wasn't just the multiple like city explosions, right? Mind you, in the beginning of the fight, right? Let's go by verbatim. Miles is being trained by Peter. One, they're worried about the convoy, right? The convoy crashes because Miles saw that the little rope was untangled and tried to fix it. It goes AWOL. Rhino gets out. Peter's fighting Rhino, right? Rhino is slamming Peter through buildings during the first encounter. Then later during the second encounter, Miles takes over and he's going through freaking buildings with Rhino. Then Peter goes back to Rhino and Rhino's slamming this man through buildings more. Peter is slowly at this point getting tired because he is being ran through buildings. And then by the time Rhino sees the gas tank, he runs straight to the gas tank. Boom, big explosion. And then as we go on to Miles and we see Peter holding on to Rhino, Rhino's going through multiple city blocks, freaking with multiple explosions. Peter is getting tired when he calls Miles like, Miles, I need your help.
Yeah, and are we also going to forget? Are we also going to sit here and forget that after Miles showed that he couldn't hold on to Rhino when he was dragging him through buildings, Peter tried to keep him away from Rhino for the rest of the fight until he ran into Roxxon? Are we also going to forget when he literally ran into the new type of energy, the Roxxon tanks that like nobody knew about until Krieger came out and talked about it? It blew up in Peter's face.
Yeah, bro. They literally saw like 6 city block levels of explosions simultaneously, like back to back at that point in time. It wasn't even Rhino that like knocked Peter out, and it stated. And also for the people in comments that are saying, "Oh yeah, I've been Spider-Man for 8 years, but Rhino's never done that previously." Mind you.
Read the
Mind you.
comments.
If he had done that previously, right, Roxanne would have been already moved in. Like, that's the whole plot point, bro, is that part got destroyed and they bought it to put Roxanne there.
Exactly.
If something like
And
that
then
level had gotten destroyed beforehand, Roxanne would have been moved in because the opportunity would have been there. Like,
exactly, and the
Yeah,
worst
niggas
thing
don't know
again
where to
with the
stop it.
statement
You're
again.
saying that Rhino planned that then?
no, I'm not saying Rhino planned it. I'm just saying it was convenient that Rhino went and had that place blown up as they were going to buy the property because they were going to demolish it anyways after buying the property.
Let me say this because I think my words are going to get changed around here. I'm not saying that Rhino knocked out Peter. All I'm trying to say is that Peter is getting not weaker, but he's not in his prime around Miles and Spider-Man 2. I truly think
I disagree.
he's not in his prime because
He
He's
is.
25 years old. What do you mean not in his prime?
Yeah, what are you, bro? He gets strong, bro. Just
If he
canonically,
was in his
Spider-Man, like, there's
prime, he
nothing
would
that
not
states
need.
otherwise.
If he was
That
in
he
his
get-
prime, no, let me look. If he was in his prime, he would have never need the anti-venom suit or any other symbiote suit to take on Venom. He would
What?
never need that.
Venom has
Oh my
always
God.
been stronger than Spider-Man. What are you talking about?
So in the past comics, Spider-Man hasn't defeated Venom as
No, I'm
regular
not saying he
Spider-Man?
hasn't defeated Venom. I'm
has.
just saying
He
Venom has
used to
always been stronger than Spider-Man.
And he has
Always.
used sound.
Okay, that's fine. He can be stronger, but at the end of the day, Peter still has before in the comics defeated Venom as just regular Spider-Man.
Yeah,
And-
but there's
and
context
every
behind
time-
it.
and-
There's
and almost
context
every
behind it,
time-
though.
And almost every
But
time he has
also, this is what
beaten
I'm
Venom,
saying, that there's
Venom has
context
almost
behind him
killed
not
him.
being in his prime now.
No, there's
But
nothing that, okay, so there's nothing, let's get this out of the way. There's nothing that states otherwise, right? It's consistent for all the Spider-Man in the comics and previous games that Spider-Man gets stronger with age. So we apply that because there's nothing stated otherwise. And obviously, from his teenage years, he's gotten stronger, like, obviously. Like,
Exactly.
so Venom, mind you, knows everything
that's
about
lazy
Peter and
writing.
everything he's gonna do. There's no form of media where Venom has not been stronger, like physically stronger, and obviously mentally, considering the mind control, stronger than Peter. He's always stronger
Y'all
than
are looking
Spider-Man.
at this at a standpoint like it's a battle. That's lazy writing if you don't specify in the games that's what's that's happening now. That's lazy writing.
Not for this though. But for you to bring up anti-venom is literally wild to me because Peter didn't choose to get anti-venom. Martin literally did
never
it
said
to
he did.
save his life.
I never
But
said he
And
did.
even that,
You said that Peter wouldn't have needed anti-venom to beat Venom.
which
But,
is
like,
completely untrue. And it wasn't just anti-Venom. He needed Miles and MJ to beat Venom also.
You're proving my point then.
Like even
saying
with
that.
even with anti-Venom, yeah, because he's never fought Venom before, and Venom is just stronger.
exactly.
And then, mind you, right, another thing too is like a thing about this game is that this Peter now is also become, I'm not gonna say dumber, but he's become more resistant. Like when Miles clearly sensed that, yo, this is a trap, do not go in by yourself because you're gonna probably die. And he's like, okay, cool. And then goes in anyway, and it was a whole entire trap, and he almost died. Like Peter is starting to get to the point of that Peter Parker that's like,
Yeah.
well,
So you're
this
telling
is
me that makes him
I'm going anyway.
But you're telling me that
even
makes him
then-
stronger?
Well,
No,
no,
that's
well,
making it more
No,
regular.
I'm not saying that
Yeah,
making it
making it more
stronger. I'm saying
reckless.
that we're getting to that Peter Parker now, where he's starting to become resistant of like listening to like logic.
Yeah,
Because
even then with anti-Venom, right? Even then with anti-Venom, the symbiote is still stronger than Peter with anti-Venom.
And are we
Like,
gonna
he
sit
could-
here
he,
and
like-
forget?
But
He ragdolls him.
hold on. I want to get on to Marvel for a second. I never said that he chose the anti-venom if he wasn't for anti-venom. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
But why-
even without the suit, he would have taken Venom. I'm telling you, he would have taken Venom.
But no,
That's
but this
not
the thing,
true, though.
no, that's what I was asking. So if you're
But it
saying
has
that he
been in the
didn't choose
comic.
it, what I'm asking you, what was your point of him bringing up him not needing anti-venom if he didn't choose it?
I'm saying my point is that if Spider-Man, like y'all are saying, is getting stronger over time, like y'all are saying, right? As he gets older, he gets stronger, right?
Yeah, physically.
Yes, he does physically.
So if you let's put the scenario in then. If he never got the anti-venom suit, do you think he would have taken Venom?
No,
like he was in the game.
symbiotes are always stronger than spider people. Always. It's always been like that.
So
Just
how's
because he's
Miles?
defeated, hold on,
How's
hold on. I know
Miles?
I know what you're gonna say. Just because he beat him in the comics, there's always context on how he beat them.
I'm
He
not just
never
talking about that.
outstrengths Venom.
I mean, okay, I understand where he's coming from, and I also understand where Jane's coming from, because logically, Spider-Man, and doesn't just go with Peter, it goes for every freaking Spider person. Like, they do get stronger with age. But, however, for this version, I understand where he's coming from, because it's like, there is one cutscene at one point where Peter does fight Venom without the anti-Venom suit, and Venom dog walks him, really. So,
But Miles wasn't wearing a symbiote, and he took on Venom.
Yes, but he didn't beat Venom. He got ragdolled by Venom at the end of that fight. He got cooked by Venom.
I'm gonna get this straight, because this is a really common misconception when it comes to the symbiotes and the spider people. Like, y'all do know that the symbiotes don't make the spider people stronger, right?
no, they do not.
I never said they did.
I'm saying this because for you to sit there and say the symbiote, that if it's not making them stronger, what's the point of him bringing them the symbiote?
I'm not saying as
And also-
y'all are saying that. I'm saying there's a discussion going on. I had a debate yesterday. There are people who are saying that the reason why Peter was able to take on or really defeat Venom, or in the fight the moments that he fought Venom in the anti-Venom suit, that's how that's nerfing Peter, because he wasn't outside the suit taking down Venom. My point was that he doesn't really, in the comics, if you're going to sit there and say in the comics that he gets stronger over time, then also in the game, just like you say in the comics, then he should be able to take Venom at that point too, if he's getting stronger over time. You can't have it both ways.
No, because the symbiotes are always stronger than the spider people. And in the comics, mind you, I've read them all. He never outstrengths Venom. He never outstrengths them. Venom is always, symbiotes are always stronger than all the spider people. Also, in the comics, Peter can't even. No, yes, he outsmarts him. He never outstrengths Venom. Venom is always stronger. He also can't sense Venom in the comics, which is so weird that you can. No, he didn't. He doesn't outstrength Venom in this game.
I said outsmart. I did not say outstrength. I said outsmart.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. I heard strength. Sorry, but yeah, no. Like he outsmarts Venom. Like he uses Miles and MJ, and himself as distractions to get him away from the meteorite.
Phil is here. He was letting you know he's here.
Just send the request, Phil.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say, like,
so like I just this is like. Hold on. Bringing up the comics, right? Like, yeah, he gets stronger with age, and like, yeah, he's beating Beast and Venom in the comics beforehand with anti-Venom, right? But that's not applicable. Like, he just outsmarts Venom in the comics. He never outstrengths him. So, like, saying he should be able to beat Miles on his own is just, like, completely different, because the smarts and strengths of this Peter are different. But he still outsmarts Venom like he does in the comics.
The reason why I say smart is because I have this debate with the Spider-Man fights and this debate last night with the Batman and Spider-Man. I'm not saying outsmart him, but when it comes to tactical stuff, Spider-Man has that strength with the tactical stuff.
I agree.
For instance, because for instance, when he first, I'm not saying the first fight, but when he knows if what was that issue he got Reed Richards to help him get the symbiote off of
Ultimate Spider-Man issue 5, I believe. If not
5 or 6.
That's my point. I think when it comes, and I think that's why I'm saying it's lazy writing just to say they're getting stronger. Okay, explain what you mean by that. Is he getting stronger by strength or mentality? Because in the strength department,
I mean, it's really both, but like
he's getting weaker.
Well, no, then it is the strength department. No, it is the strength, it is the physical strength department. But just because he's not.
But there's nowhere.
Say that again.
There's nowhere in the game. Well, I'm not going to say completely, because there's been moments. I don't want to say that completely, but the moments that he's shown his strength was in the symbiote suit, and I'm trying to tell people that that's not.
That's because the symbiote
are you saying that? Wait. Yeah, the suit. Mind you, the suit. Like when he's wearing the symbiote, he stops holding back, he stops pulling his punches, so that gives the illusion of strength. Spider-Man is always holding back.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to say that I don't know how to explain it. It's very difficult to explain.
No, I definitely, I think I'm kind of saying, like, I'm gonna like say a statement like, and I'm gonna see like this what you mean. Like, are you saying like, do you think that they're like with Peter, he was kind of like not like when it came to him in Venom, he wasn't trying like as he could have, or like he wasn't really himself like he was in like the first game.
Well, if you pay attention to the fight, it wasn't that his strength that overpowered Venom. His tactical advantage of knowing how to approach Venom, because he knew that the anti-Venom suit had abilities to that was in the weakness towards Venom, as in like I can't get into the scientific terms of it, but
Yo, Phil saying let me up. Phil asking
I
to
see
get up.
it.
Yeah.
I see it.
But
yeah,
I understand what you're saying. I just like I think maybe we're having like word salad right now, because like I think the words are getting jumbled up. But I just think like this is my last statement because I gotta dip out. But it's like the anti-venom suit like doesn't, like, the symbiotes don't physically boost people's strength. It just makes them stop holding back, and Spider-Man's constantly holding back. Also, mind you, he doesn't want to, like, he was also holding back. He doesn't want to kill Harry. Like, he wanted to save Harry, so he wasn't gonna go all out regardless. And Harry was still partially in control. And the symbiote was talking about healing the world, and they have dialogue about how the goal isn't complete without his best friend. So even then, Venom wasn't trying to kill Peter either. But the symbiotes are just basically have always been stronger than the spider people.
Now the symbiotes, they still make them hold back. They just make them like be more serious when they're fighting and kind of more ruthless.
And then also the whole Miles point of like why didn't Miles need a symbiote to take on Venom and was going blow for blow with Venom? Mind you, again, this game takes 3 years and 10 months after the Miles game, so Miles is literally in his early 20s, which is Miles is slowly entering his prime. So of course they're going to show like, yeah, Miles is getting stronger and has his abilities and shit.
Okay, like, then you're proving my point even further though, with the Miles and Peter.
He's also, getting kind of wrong.
One more thing. Hold on. One more thing is that if you don't think that Spider-Man gets stronger with age in this game, that's like saying that the flashback Peter is the equal strength of the Peter you play as in like the 2018 game or this game. So, I just think like that's an objective statement that's like completely not true.
But they gotta specify that. You cannot not specify that. That's lazy writing in the game to not specify that.
I mean, I don't think it's lazy writing. It's just established that Spider-Man gets stronger with age, and unless it's said otherwise, you just apply that because it's shown.
It's kind of
like you can't assume every person that's playing the game is going to read the comics. You gotta specify that.
But
oh
my bad. Go ahead.
It's like saying you're gonna make the audience. You're gonna assume the audience is gonna know all the abilities, the ins and outs of being Spider and his abilities and whatnot. Watching them on the movies, that's the same scenario. You gotta tell it through the story. Now the comics, leave it in the comics, but when it comes to the games and the movies, you have to specify that.
But I was gonna say,
I just disagree. I mean, I feel like it's like kind of like they don't have to explain everything. It's kind of obvious that like high school Peter, when he's been bitten, is obviously not as strong as current Peter out of college Peter. Like, I think that's just kind of obvious and not needed to be explained.
I'm not saying young high school Peter is the same as. I'm not.
Well, yeah, then he's obviously gotten stronger with age, no?
No, you're really pulling it here. Like, if I'm not saying like it's the same, he's getting weaker since high school. I'm saying that. As he's getting to a point now. I'm not talking about over time. Like over time, he's gotten weaker as he gets older. I'm just talking about at the current moment. He is showing weaker moments as he's getting older. That there's little moments he's getting weaker as Peter Parker.
To explain this, like, because like I think it's kind of getting dragged out. I mean, for like the whole game, like literally from the start to finish, Peter has been mentally nerfed like the whole game.
He was mentally nerfed in the first game.
Nah, he wasn't that. He wasn't that.
How?
He was not.
Hold on. Let me explain.
And I was gonna get to that when it compares to the first game when Aunt May was sick. He was worried after she died and stuff. Like he was sad and stuff, but he was not as mentally nervous as when it came to this game with him. Dealing with her death, 2 dealing with the mortgage for the house, 3 dealing with his relationship with MJ because he's trying to keep that. Him with Harry, he finds out Harry's a symbiote. He gets it.
You guys want to talk about you read comics, but every time Peter is worried about Aunt May, I'm telling you, every time in the comics, Aunt May comes first. The reason why one more day happened is because of Aunt May. You're going to sit there and tell me that wasn't a mental problem?
I'm talking about the first and the second game. I'm not talking about the comics.
Oh, now you're not talking about the comics.
I mean, but what do you do? I don't know
what, bro? All right.
What?
Miles, I gotta go do some stuff. I'll catch you later.
To choose and not to use the comics.
All right, thank you for letting me up. You all have a.
What do you mean by picking and choosing?
Yeah.
You can't just say, "Well, I'm not talking about comics," but then you want to use the argument
because
it
was because you brought up the first game. That's why I was talking about the first and second game.
But you're saying that there wasn't no mental issue. He wasn't mentally drained because he were not worried about Aunt May. It's been throughout the comics that he's gone crazy over Aunt May.
No, I wasn't saying he was never worried about Aunt May. He was. It was shown. I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm just saying that he was more mentally nerved when it came to the second game because of all the stuff that was happening to him.
I think we're kind of going in talking about the same thing, just different POVs. To be honest with you.
Hey, what up? So I just wanna ask you guys something. What was your opinion on the 2-hour cutscene of Peter taking in 19 inches of venom?
Oh my god,
Bro.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I gotta say, I enjoyed it.
Are you joking or are you just being? I don't know.
Nah.
What did you skip that cutscene?
Nah, you tripping, bro.
Go.
Everybody got quiet. It was like,
it's an event value. You know what to do because these games.
Look, I'm gonna have to kick you because I'm not trying to get banned on the live.
I just want to let you know that.
Yo, what's good, Phil?
What's good? What's the topic?
Man, I don't even know at this point.
It's like opinions on Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, but a lot of people are not gonna like this, but Web of Shadows still slams.
Okay, I would say this. Okay, I would say this, Phil. I agree. I definitely agree. I do think Web of Shadows was better gameplay wise.
I would say,
And characters. I do think how they included Luke Cage and Devin. Like I kind of enjoyed the story. Like I enjoyed the story more for Spider-Man 2.
Well, here's the thing.
Spider-Man 2. If we're comparing endings,
hold on.
good ending and Web
you know why Web of Shadows is better? You know why it's better? Because literally Spider-Man 2 took everything about Web of Shadows and made it to their own. Everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. Like even if we want to compare endings, the good ending.
They took Web Strike. They took the whole city being covered in symbiotes. They took all that shit.
But Web Strike has always been a thing.
Okay, but the thing
is, when they gonna have Web Strike in it, besides the PS4 or PS5 Spider-Man.
But you can't say Spider-Man took Web Strike from Web of Shadows because, mind you, Web Strike has been around since Spider-Man 2, the movie game. So it's like
I never remember that. So like,
if anything, Web of Shadows took that from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. If you want to get technical.
No, I actually don't remember that. That's why I said that.
Because it was also in Spider-Man 3, the movie game, that one with Tobey Maguire.
Because in my personal opinion, I think Web of Shadows, since they only took 18 months to make that game, and today it's still the best Spider-Man game, is wild to me.
Yeah, I do like it. I definitely think it's like the best. I have to put
literally, if you want to go to like how the black suit should feel like, that game was literally it, bro.
I agree. I would agree.
The fact that we haven't got another Spider-Man game where you can switch from the classic to the black suit back and forth is mind-blowing to me. I don't know.
Phil, did you know in Web of Shadows, if you use the black suit for a long time and try to take it off after a while, it gets harder for him to take the suit off.
What, in Spider-Man 3?
No, in Spider-Man Web of Shadows. And in Spider-Man 3.
I actually didn't know that in Web of Shadows, but really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you leave the suit on for a while, for like a long time, and you try to switch back, it have him fighting the suit, like trying to switch back.
Okay, I actually did not know that.
Yeah, no, that's
But honestly, I just like the story better in Web of Shadows too. I just think they did it better.
That
That was
like,
before
don't get
Noel got introduced in the comics,
cool,
so it was pretty interesting to me.
and it's a
Hey,
great
and
game.
listen, real quick, Phil. I gotta ask you a question, like a question about the Spider-Man game, real quick. And
Yeah.
hey, because cinema fans, he was cooking. I'm not gonna lie. But do you think if they bring in Nolan in the next game, they gotta severely nerf this man? They really gonna have to nerf him?
Then if they bring in Noel, they're gonna have to bring in the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. They have to. They have.
That's what I'm
If they
saying,
don't,
'cause,
it'd
like,
be very missed. Like
Yeah,
that's an L.
because
I,
Peter and Marvel is a long
I think
shot.
that's why this game's an L too. Like,
Bringing him in.
I like Spider-Man 2, but I think another L is that like how is this big event in Manhattan? You have mentions of Daredevil, you have mentions of the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Doctor Strange, Logan, and you have
So-
none of them show up.
For the Avengers, their excuse is that they're on vacation.
They're sipping pina
Nah,
colada. Going
dude, but come on, like nobody, not even Tony shows up. Like I just think it's kind of weird to me. I don't need cameos, but for the story part, when taking that over, like I'm sorry, that just seems kind of ridiculous that we have Miles and Peter doing that by
I
themselves.
feel like it's gonna be more inclusive in the next game. hopefully.
I
'Cause I
mean,
wanna see
I mean, to be fair, it was kind of inclusive in this game because you do have characters like Agent Venom, Rafe, showing up to like fight
Come on
alongside
now.
Spider-Man.
I mean, you
Let's
had
be
Black
real
Cat going into Doctor Strange dome.
Well,
that-
it just started like we literally had Black Cat in the Sanctum Sanctorum. No Wand, no Doctor Strange. We have mentions of Daredevil, of I believe Iron Fist, because Iron Fist's fucking dojo was there. And we have all the stuff that's mentioned, and we don't even get a cameo. Oh hell, and T'Challa. Like where the hell is all these characters at? And I don't need cameos, but if you're gonna have this big event where it's taking over Manhattan and people are getting consumed by symbiotes, like I don't get it how there's not at least like a cut scene or something of like people fighting and they're like, "Hey Peter, go get Venom. We'll take out the symbiotes in the city," or it's just something like that. There's
I'm not
just
gonna lie,
nothing.
like,
That's what I'm confused on, and that's why I like Web of Shadows a little bit more too, because the whole city of Manhattan's getting taken over, and you have Logan, you have Moon Knight, you have Luke Cage,
Luke Cage.
but yeah,
Yep.
you have Black Widow,
Also,
you
mind
had,
you,
there's
there's
just
a
so many
difference
people, and
between-
Tony Stark was mentioned too, and you were using Stark Tower.
But mind you, there's a difference between what Wedge of Shadow did and what Insomniac Spider-Man 2 is doing. Because with Wedge of Shadows, like you said, that game took 18 months to make, right? So it's like, it was kind of rushed, but it wasn't like rush. The difference between Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Wedge of Shadows is that, yes, Wedge of Shadows had, like all these characters and everything, and it was already established, but there was never really like a build up to like, oh yeah, this is there, that's there. What Insomniac is doing is like, there are references to these characters. Like, for example, there was a reference to Wolverine in the first game. We got a Wolverine game coming now because they're making Wolverine. Every character that we have that has been mentioned, they're obviously going to make a game off of him, but because Insomniac is doing the whole MCU thing, they're making a build up to whatever's going
I get
to
that.
come.
I get that.
So
That's not what I'm
so they
saying.
can't just put them in there for a cameo like straight up just
No,
yet.
well, it just doesn't make any sense when you have when you have all Manhattan getting taken over by symbiotes. You're telling me that all of them just were not in New York at that point in time.
Yeah, nah, they on wherever they're
No,
at.
that's the Avengers. That's fine. Where's everyone else?
That's
Well,
true.
well, mind you, the Fantastic Four just started to freaking build the Baxter building.
No, that's fine. So where are they? Where's Doctor Strange? Where's
got the-
Daredevil?
Strange
No,
is-
wait,
Iron
because
Fist?
Daredevil, if you looked in the 2018 game, you know how we see Daredevil's building. You know that they moved. Like Foggy and Matt, they're gone. Because if you look at the building in this game, like you'll see that their names is gone. Like
No, that's fine.
convenient.
Where did they move to then?
How convenient.
yeah, they're probably go. Yeah, it's how convenient. But
No, I don't think they moved out of New York. I think they just moved out of that part of New York.
I know why he left. I know why he moved out. I know why.
Brooklyn too. I'm just saying, like, I just feel like everyone I've talked to about it, there's just an excuse of why that character wasn't there. Oh, the story is inclusive. That's fine, but
There's
it
no-
doesn't make any sense when this big event, no one decided to come back to New York and help Peter. They're just like, yeah, Peter's
But
got it.
also, mind you, symbiote, like the symbiote interface, infection. Mind you, with Wedge of Shadows, the symbiote infection was like massively huge, right? Like it didn't just cover one part of the city; it covered the whole entire city. With Spider-Man 2, Yeah, sure. There's
It
like
covered most of the city.
like,
I think
there's, like
it,
hold on. Like yeah, sure. There's like nesses and stuff around the city, and sure, like it was covered like that one part of Manhattan, most of it. But mind you, like the whole entire city, bro, like from Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, no, like all of it wasn't freaking like covered. Right now, had all of it been covered, like Queens, Brooklyn, um, Harlem in this, I do believe that the Avengers would have shown up.
Miles,
But
you can't do
because
that.
it was only like sort of like one part, and
well,
Peter and Miles
if
already
you
had it handled.
see
Like
if
the
you
Avengers and everybody
count
else
the
is saying,
pod,
well, we don't really need to show up because we know Spidey got it.
well, hold on. If anything, technically, Spider-Man 2 actually had a bigger infection because
Yeah.
even if it's just one part, right? That's fine. That was bigger because most of Manhattan was covered in Web of Shadows, but it never got to Queens. It never got to Brooklyn. It never got to Long Island. It never got to anywhere. In Spider-Man 2, it did.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Miles. We can't even make it.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, it just to me that's an
Because
elephant in the stomach. I think that's
when I looked at
it,
the map, and I'll even go back to my old save file for it. Like when I looked at the map and zoomed out, like there was only there was only that part of Manhattan that was covered. When you went over to Queens, there were only like the nesses and everything, but you didn't see like the web lines. Which one, like it didn't really reach like downtown Queens or Brooklyn or.
Okay, but either way though, what does that matter? Like you're telling me every single character I mentioned were not in New York, and they just said, "Yeah, we're not going to go back and try to help." They're just going to say,
I'm
"Fuck
just
off."
saying, like Miles, we had giant cocoons around the city. We can't even.
I'm just saying. I think it's just an elf from Insomniac. I think just a con. It's just not. It doesn't make the game terrible. It's just a weird plot hole for the story. I think that's just an elf for the story. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I definitely like see where you're coming from. And I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of agree with you on that. And what I think that they're gonna do, and which is like it's not an excuse. It's like they just left them out. I mean, like where are they? I think they're gonna save all those for like something else. I think so.
I just think it would have been a great opportunity to like show other characters.
I want to say because I agree with Phil because I feel like because me personally I was kind of hoping at least we got a Wolverine cameo because it would have been because I was theorizing before the game came out. I'm like they're definitely going to go for a Web of Shadows route. I'm like this would be a perfect way to introduce like Wolverine because you got a game coming out for it. So this would be a perfect way to bring him in. And it's like you don't have Wolverine. You don't have forget the Avengers, even though they need them there. But none of the street heroes were showing up. None of them, like Daredevil.
That's my problem. I don't need cameos. I just think if it's a store that's going to take apart all Manhattan, part of Queens, part of Brooklyn, and nobody showed up. Nobody. It's just not even one.
Now that's
unless there's DLC about it.
Like a month, or not a month, but like a few weeks before the game launched, I did have one theory, which was like because Peter has the black suit and everything, and then like let's say like Harry gets the black suit or whatever. I did say like I think it would have been like how you could have introduced Daredevil to show up is that like because Peter had gotten the black suit off and Venom had been over there to like was out there killing people. That freaking or not Spider-Man, freaking Wolverine. That for Wolverine, like perhaps Wolverine is going out to hunt Sabretooth or whatever, right? And like, but the thing is, like, there's this alert on the news that there's like this mad man with claws going around killing people in Hell's Kitchen or somewhere in New York. And because Wolverine's looking for him, he goes out to try to find him, and he sees that there's a little like clue left down the alleyway, which in retrospect he goes down there, but you wind up getting this fight between Daredevil and Wolverine because Daredevil hears that there was a masked man with claws going around killing people, not knowing it wasn't Logan. So now you get this fight between him and Daredevil, and then later on you get Daredevil to help you out to find Sabretooth. And that's how you would introduce
See, I just wanted something like Web of Shadows to where you can call in for assists and have like Daredevil come in and help you fight. It would have been just cool aspect to it, and it would have made the story make a lot more sense. Like shit, dude. Like we're at a point now where Spider-Man cannot just be affiliated with Spider-Man. Now he needs help because if not, he can't win. Like legit, and it would just make like a crazy story. And to me, that sounds a lot better than Peter Miles just soloing Venom and all of the symbiotes. It just sounds ridiculous to me. It just.
But I also feel like the nostalgia of Web of Shadows, because like I used to be the person that was like, well, Spider-Man 2, since it's got symbiote, you gotta do this and that, like Web of Shadows, blah blah blah. But then I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's time to let go of Web of Shadows. Yes, it was a good game, but it's kind of like the whole entire like Arkham Knight. People wanted Gotham Knights to be like Arkham Knight. Like Gotham Knights was never meant to be like Arkham Knight. So for there, of course, it's going to be different. Spider-Man 2 was never meant to be like What the Shadows.
I never said it was. I'm just saying that.
I know you didn't say it was. I'm just saying in general, like in general, it was never meant to be like that. Like, yeah, it took aspects from it and did like different things. Like instead of them being just basic normal symbiotes, they were like the null symbiotes and stuff. And like the story of it was like a little bit different, sure. But I feel like the main problem for like just goes for games in general is that people always try to compare or say like, well, this happened in Wedge of Shadows, so like it would have been nice for it to happen in here and this and that, or this happened in Gotham Knights or Arkham Knights, so for there, why didn't it happen in this game and this and that? It's like not every game is gonna be like the things that came before, because those games before it were like, you know, good for the time being, but they also were just like things for like test drives and stuff, and painted ways for newer games to like, you know, take what the older games did and do it 10 times better.
I don't think.
I feel like you
can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I say something though? Like if that's the case, then why introduce like set up the fact there's Avengers in New York City, there's Doctor Strange in the first game. Like you got all these the people they're making these characters exist in the universe, but never like I don't care if it was in Queens or Brooklyn or whatnot. New York City was under attack by symbiote invasion. At least somebody had to be there. That's lazy writing to say, oh, they're on vacation. That's lazy writing. I get it.
That's what the Avengers are. That's fine.
That's the thing. It's not lazy writing, because
it is though.
In the first game, they explain where each of these heroes are. Like for the Avengers, they're somewhere out there, like out on the coast. So we know.
Well, that's fine, but you know how the Avengers are. They'll get a notification and be like, "Hey, New York's under attack," and Tony's there in a fucking hour, if less.
Like they're over there doing whatever. The rest of the heroes,
that's fine. That's just one team, though.
Explained that she was like out of freaking New York. Luke Cage was freaking like somewhere in New York, but like hasn't been.
It's just lazy writing, brother. It has nothing to do with how.
Not
like,
lazy writing.
It's just you're gonna have Doctor Strange, you're gonna have Avengers, you're gonna have Fantastic Four, you're gonna have Daredevil, you're gonna have Logan, you're gonna have T'Challa, and none of them are there. They're all gone. And none of them are gonna want to come back to New York. They're terrible superheroes then.
Because it's like for me, for example, I have my own like Spider-Man story down doing this app, and we're currently working on season 2 right now. Season 1, mind you, there were like references and everything to like the Avengers, characters like Sydney Moon, etc. Right? What I'm doing is building up. While there are little references to let you know, like they're in this universe. Just because I haven't shown them yet doesn't mean they're not going to show up. People may get impatient and be like, well, this was a massive L, or this was an L for, you know, this, or this was lazy writing, because why tell us that these characters were not show them like within like the second or third thing, when in reality, like just because they're mentioned does not mean they're going to be shown, because whatever the creator is doing with these characters by saying, yeah, they're in this universe, but they haven't shown up yet, because they're building it up to something much more like bigger.
Well,
because
yeah,
if for me personally, right? For me personally, I understand you want to see like those characters and like Marvel Spider-Man 2, but for me, I wouldn't want to see either the Fantastic Four or the Avengers until maybe like there's this big crossover event where it's like maybe like they have to fight Galactus or Thanos or something. right?
Well,
Like,
my thing is,
just
I don't care about
simple
seeing them. It's just they're having a big
expectation
event and
thing.
they're not showing up. Makes it ridiculous. You're
Like,
pretty much saying
just
they're
for
terrible superheroes.
the symbiote like apocalypse thing, yeah, it would have made sense for at least certain heroes to show up or the Avengers show up. But for me personally, I feel like if they would have done that in this game, it would have been cool. But I feel like it would have been
It
a
would make a
waste
lot more
because it's like,
sense.
if you want to waste them on something as small as this, versus if you
Oh,
were to
this
do
wasn't
something like,
small.
say,
Whoa,
you
whoa,
have
that wasn't
all
small.
types of villains and stuff, and you have the Avengers,
Whoa.
Spider-Man, Miles, etc., all team up together to take down a bigger threat than just what we got in this game.
No, that wasn't a small threat though. You're acting like this is child's play. That was not child's play.
I'm not saying it was child's play. I'm saying, like, in this case scenario, like, Miles and Peter were enough to take down these freaking symbiotes and these infestations. They were, as we clearly see. Like, hadn't gotten any bigger to where maybe, let's say, it was Carnage, Riot, and etc., and like the rest of the symbiotes there, like the main symbiote people there, then yeah, I could see the Avengers popping off and popping in. But again, like, me personally, I would want to see them for a bigger crossover than just this.
So what I'm getting what you're saying is that the Avengers are just cocky assholes, and since they don't think it's a bad thing, they're like, yeah, Peter's got it.
And plus, if you want to get technical, that's what they do in the comic books anyway.
I don't know. That's just one team, though. That's just one team. We're not even. I'm not even like. That's just one team. I understand that's fine if the Avengers aren't there, but there are so many other characters that should have at least popped up and should be like, yeah, Peter, I'll focus this part of the section. You go find Venom. That's the only thing they got to do, and it'll make the story make a lot more sense. Because to me, when I see Peter and Miles soloing them,
Hey, bro,
it just makes it kind of ridiculous. It's like plot. It's like plot armor almost. It's just I'm sitting there. I'm like, dude, like what? They're just gonna solo everything? Like they can handle this, all the shit? Like Galactus and Thanos, Peter's got it. Like that's all I'm saying. I just think they just need to show up and say, yeah, Peter, we got your help. They don't have to like be in there and fighting Venom. They just gotta show up and be like, yeah, Peter, I'll work Hell's Kitchen. I got the financial district. Okay, I got Brooklyn. Like, you know, like a team. And that's the only thing they gotta do. And it just shows them like actually helping Peter out. And then Peter Miles just completely like doing 3 Boros. That's just crazy to me.
Well, you have the Fantastic Four actively in New York City. You don't think Reed Richards at any point would not have came out and be like, hey, let me try to help out the situation like he's done before in the comics when it comes to symbiote stuff? Like, where is he at? You know?
But also, one big thing you're missing too, Phil, is that Peter in this universe just met Kraven, right? He also fought Lizard for all those years, right? Now, we do know he did meet Daredevil. We know that for sure. But in terms of Fantastic Four and other people like the Defenders and stuff, we're not 100% certain that they even know who Spider-Man is. Because the Fantastic Four just moved in. They just moved in, so they might not even know who this sucker is.
But they don't have to know Spider-Man to get
Hold
involved.
on. That proves my point.
Who Spider-Man is.
Hold on. That proves my point, though. If they don't know who Peter is, and they see some crazy shit happen in New York, they would probably try to help even more. Because they don't know who Peter is, so they don't know if there's even a superhero team or hero going around and saving New York.
And plus, we don't even know how long the Avengers have been around in this universe anyway.
Well, they've been around since, I don't even know, since Spider-Man 1, so at least 2 years, right?
Well, Spider-Man 1 took place in 2018. Like, in game-wise, it took place in 2018. Miles took place in December in that same year. This game takes 3 years and 10 months after the Miles game.
Okay, so they've been around for at least 3 years, right?
Possibly 3 years.
And then that's fine. But what you said with the Fantastic Four not knowing Peter and stuff, that kind of proves my point. Because I'm like, if they don't know who Peter is and they see New York under attack, they probably should.
When I mean they don't know who he is, I mean, like, I'm not talking about Peter. I'm talking about in terms of just because they just moved into New York and bought out the
So wait, you're telling me they don't know who Spider-Man is at all?
They might not even know who Spider-Man is. So they might not even be like, they might not even really like want to help him. Is what I'm trying to say.
But then they're not heroes. Then they're not here. Then what's the point of Fantastic Four then? Because they have to know Spider-Man to get involved and try to save the day.
And then also like keep in mind the Fantastic Four in this universe. What do we really know about them? Because
really
right now
we don't know
about
a lot of characters.
About them.
We really
don't know if the Fantastic Four in this universe had just gotten their powers and had their powers for maybe like a couple of months or maybe a year, and now they're like trying to build a base in New York, right? We don't know if they gone up against any big threat yet. Hell, we don't even know if they fought Doctor Doom. So that's why I'm like, if they are just starting out as the Fantastic Four and they see this bigger threat, like, depending on how Insomniac do it, they might have Insomniac might have these Fantastic Four like not be ready for a big threat like the symbiotes or Venom yet, because they might not even be fully adapt to their own power just yet.
But you see what you're doing. You're making up a lot of the stuff that has not been specified in the game whatsoever. So it's lazy writing to have Avengers in New York City and now Fantastic Four in the city, and X-Men have been nodded to, talked about in the game as well. Same for Daredevil and all these other characters. They have Rand Industries, all this other stuff. And you're telling me not one hero, any hero that don't need to know Spider-Man to not get involved. That's ludicrous to say that they need to know Spider-Man or be inspired to. Even if this was their first time, this would be perfect for them to get involved in, because New York City is under attack by symbiote suits. Even in the MCU, let's bring in the MCU. Same thing. New York was under attack. Avengers came and saved the day. You cannot have these characters in the universe and not. You're going to sit there and tell me they're on vacation? Okay, where are they on vacation? Why are they on vacation? What's the point of being a team? What's the point of being a superhero? Then just to what Phil's saying,
they wanted to go open their new base in freaking San Francisco.
Okay, then stop what you're doing and realize there's people.
Wait, you see Avengers are? You see Avengers new building in San Francisco?
When you go past the Avengers Tower in the first game, Peter makes the comment that that's the Avengers Tower. I think they're going to open a new base in San Francisco.
That's fine, but we're acting like the team. We're acting like the Avengers. Those characters don't go on their solo stuff and leave the team for a little bit, and they still do hero stuff. Like, we're acting like if they're not part of the Avengers, they're not doing hero stuff. That's just, and besides that point, that's one team. That's literally one team out of the three teams in the game. That's all I'm saying. I just think it's lazy writing. I don't think it makes the game bad. I just think there's a lot of plot holes into it. And I think the game right now is a lot of hype people who are in middle school and high school who love this game because, this is the game they grew up on. And I get it, because when I was 10 years old playing Web of Shadows, I totally loved that game too. But I think we need to don't.
No, this wasn't Web of Shadows. This was Web of Shadows 2. No,
what I'm saying is that I was 10 years old when Web of Shadows came out. So people who are literally riding this game to the moon are people who are when I was at that age, around 13, 14 as well.
I know what you meant. I was making a joke.
Oh, okay. But what I'm saying is we can't just make this game just a 10 out of 10. By doing that is they're not going to improve on what they need to improve on. That's why I think the story, there's some plot holes into it, and I think it's just cons for the game that needs to be said. I'm not saying the game's trash. I gave this game an 8.2 out of 10.
I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Automatically from that plot hole story does not make it a 10 out of 10, but I guess it's it's subjective. But again,
that's the thing though, that like you said, it's subjective, but that's the thing. I can't sit there and say because for me personally, yeah, you could look at that as a plot hole in the story, but then it's I can't really sit here and say, okay, this game's not a 10 out of 10 because while there's references to the Fantastic Four and Avengers and X-Men and they didn't show up, is a big plot hole in the story because there was this big freaking event that happened and none of them showed up, so it's a 8.5 out of 10 or whatever.
It's just not that either. Right? It's not just that either.
Because for me, that feels like I'm nitpicking. To me,
I'm not nitpicking at all. If you want me to nitpick, I can nitpick on a lot of things.
Like that's just me though. Like
But
that's
even
their
what I was saying earlier, before Phil got here, that's what I was trying to point out is that if you want to say, I get it that it's a thing, it's stated in the comics and wherever else, but when it comes to the game or even in the movies, when Peter, because the thing is, people are saying that Peter gets stronger when he gets older. Yes, that might be a thing in the comics, and I get that. Everyone knows I love and respect the comics. Comics are very important, but you can't just sacrifice storytelling because it's been done in the comics. That's lazy writing. You got to specify that, okay, if Peter, because to me as a gamer, and I read comics, and I know I can read it in between the lines. But in the game, I'm seeing Peter is getting weaker as he gets older. I'm not saying he's weak; he can't take nobody. When people hear me say that, that's me saying Spider-Man is ultimately like nerfed. I'm not saying that. But there's little moments as a long life Spider-Man fan, I can tell this Spider-Man is getting weaker mentally and physically, and now he's resorting to his tactics and his mentality and his intelligence to fight more than he used to when it was just physical. And that's why he's getting older and is getting a little bit weaker in those little aspects that made him Spider-Man before. But to throw in the stuff that happened in the comics is what's happening in the games is lazy writing. Unless you can do that, but you got to tell it in the story. You can't assume that the gamers or whoever are going to know that. That's just lazy writing. For anything, movies, TVs, games. Again, I respect and love the comics, but you see where I'm coming from?
You know, I see where you're coming from because it's like what I do for when like I make a story and shit, right? Is that like I go like I'll do it this way. Like for example, the first season I ever made on this app back in 2020, I took it from the story plot from the Miles comic where Miles and Gwen got married, and just switched that story and made it instead of Miles and Gwen, it was Miles and Kamala. But only in this universe, they have a kid. This kid has powers, but his powers aren't the same as his parents. They're completely different. And his kid turns into a villain because of stuff that happens in his universe due to a villain killing his uncle. And he blames his parents for it because his parents were told to retreat and take their son with him. So he feels animosity towards them, right? Like, I look at those comic books and I think, okay, this happened. Let's flip this and turn it into this. In Insomniac, they already like in multiple interviews said that they go off of multiple comic books that they have read throughout their childhood years, and they take those stories and turn it into their own thing. So like the symbiote infestation story, that's been a story for like a while now that Wedge of Shadows did, but never did the Noel one. And Insomniac took that and was like, okay, this happened in Wedge of Shadows, but let's look at the comic books too. And looked at the Noel comic book and like, you know what? This has never been done in a Spider-Man game before with the whole Noel symbiotes and referencing Noel and this and that. So they took that and, you know, they made it into their own thing. They switched the story a little bit. Instead of it being Noel who freaking infected everybody, it was Venom. Like, yeah, there's the heroes. Yeah, it seems like lazy writing, but like they are slowly, and this is why I say I believe that Marvel Spider-Man 2 was just a test, like a test footage to see how everything would go in terms of like different heroes showing up to help out Spider-Man, because you have Rafe, you have Harry, you have Miles. So by the time we get to like Spider-Man 3, or maybe even in a DLC, because we are going to get DLC for this game, they might add those models of Daredevil, Wolverine, or even like Captain America, whoever the case may be, in that DLC.
What I'll say though, hold on. What I'll say, like I said, I didn't need them to show up to fight. I didn't want to play them. I didn't want them to even help. They don't even have to help. I just wanted a cut scene of a couple teams or characters to talk to Peter, and let's say it's the first time meeting, or it's like the 10th time meeting and they're friends now, saying like, hey, Peter, do you have this under control? And Peter would be like, actually, I don't, because it's taken all over New York. I can't find Venom. I can't find this rock, blah, blah, blah. Can you take part of the city and make sure these people are safe and we can evacuate people? Yeah, Peter, I got you. And that's it. We don't see them again. That's all I'm asking. And that'll make the story a lot better because you're telling me all these teams are not there. You're not answering it besides the Avengers that are not there. And you're saying because it's a Spider-Man game, that is fine. That I'm not denying that. What I'm saying is you're printing this is going past a Spider-Man game. This is like making a comic book, and then you're doing like the Dark Web series where the X-Men showed up and helped Peter. And then you're telling me now the X-Men don't need to show up and it's all about Peter. Like, no.
Yeah, but even then, the way you
other media where it's just a solo video game, but other characters show up when it's bigger than the character itself.
But even then, like the way you just described that cutscene, like saying like they don't even have to like just like show up and like like help him out.
It makes the story a lot compelling.
Actually, I kind of preferred what they were doing with Miles currently, but with Daredevil usually. So in Spider-Man 2, you know how you fight and you often see Miles helping you from time to time.
That would have been cool too. I wouldn't mind that, but I just needed a cutscene to make the story.
No, that's what I mean though. Like because I'm a gamer. Like that's what I'm saying. Like because I believe Spider-Man 2, just like how Spider-Man 1 was like the pinnacle of like the test to see like how people will react to how this Spider-Man was, and then Miles was like the little continuation to see like how they got used to like the new air tricks and everything, and like the being two Spider-Man on screen. I believe Spider-Man 2 is the same way. It being the Arkham states like Arkham Knight.
They've cameoed a hero. They cameoed a hero. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they cameoed Dr. Foster, and that's Goliath.
Yeah, no, that too. But I'm saying like Spider-Man 2 was a test to see like how it would go having different heroes like Wraith and like Agent Venom pop up on screen because they're going to have Avengers in there.
What I hope is maybe there'll be a DLC and we get cutscenes of when the symbiote event happened, and we get to see the heroes when in the Spider-Man 2 game we never got to see. And that'll make the story a lot better because right now there's just a bunch of plot holes. There's just all this shit happening and no one showed up. It's just kind of like, bro, now that's just kind of like, dude, this is kind of ridiculous. And that's why I want this game at like at least a 9. If I see this game goes to a 9. Because I mean, okay, now I know, shit, Peter's not the only one doing this because we see it in comic books, in the movies, in media, where when a solo story character happens and there's something that he's fighting in, he can't do it on his own. And that happens a bunch. And that's not just comic books. And you telling me all these people are, that's fine, the Avengers aren't there. That's great. That's just one specific team with 6 characters minimum, right? There's just so many other characters that have been referenced, talked about, and the buildings have seen, and they're just not fighting. That just either tell me that's lazy writing, or the characters or the superheroes are just a bunch of assholes. That's just the answer, and I don't care which one.
Like, whoever does it on his own. You're making it seem like Peter was out here doing all this stuff on his own when he had Miles.
It really was. It was just him, MJ, and Miles. Name other superhero character besides them 3 that were actually doing work. I guess you could put Mr. Negative, but he was there just to help Peter get a new suit.
Yeah, like even Mr. Negative was doing, like everybody was doing their part to like help. Like
who else besides them 4? Who else?
He was out there freaking like making.
He's not really helping though. He's just giving them eyes. That's not actually taking out.
You had MJ going out looking for the meteorite. You had Dr. Connors helping and freaking telling Peter like, yeah, this is this and that, and like.
But after the event happened though, Dr. Connors was never shown up.
Without all this, you have to like.
Dr. Connors didn't help though.
That's the thing, and then like going back to what you said earlier.
Well, no, answer that though. Dr. Connors did not help. He did not. He literally after the event happened, where all the symbiotes went control the city, he did not help anymore. Genki doesn't really help, but tell him about like information maybe where the rock's at, and then Mr. Negative helped Peter get the suit, and that was then he left.
Like your thing is like, well, Peter, Miles, MJ are the only 3 people that were doing something, but there was no other heroes helping.
Yes, because we never saw it. At that point,
Peter already had the help. He did have help.
I think I have an idea how Insomniac would solve this. I have an idea. How about they take a page from Ultimate Spider-Man, the game, and add in heroes how they added into Ultimate Spider-Man? Like a tiny little mini game where you have to chase the Human Torch over the city.
Oh, the race. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just need a cutscene.
Or
That's all I need. I just need a cutscene to make it more compelling. Just
And
be like,
that's why I
oh,
want to go
okay,
back to
Logan's
for
helping.
Phil.
Logan's in Manhattan and he's fighting symbiotes, but we just don't see him in the Spider-Man game because of the story, whatever. But like,
And that's why I wanted to go back to what you said, Phil. Like you say like you don't care if they like show up, you just want a cutscene with them. But even the way you explain the cutscene is like, you know, like Peter telling them like, no, I don't got this, and like asking them, could you go around the city to like check or try to find the rock, and then we don't see them ever again. If you want to get technical, what you stated them by saying, I just want that cutscene and then we don't see them ever again, that's lazy Ryan, because if we're not seeing them ever again, after that, then that's lazy Ryan. If you think...
No, not at all, because listen, Peter Parker has never ever, in the comic books,
what you said would be lazy writing.
No, it's not, because Peter has never ever shown in any other media to fight Venom one-on-one and beat him without, like, using other elements to beat him. And now you're giving me this Venom who has fucking Null wings and has control of most of the city, and he just has Miles with them. And you're telling me he can do this on his own? You got to be on drugs.
No, the Harry thing, you're acting like already. That's the thing. He didn't do it on his own. Like
he pretty much did. He had to fight Venom inside by himself, and then Miles helped.
Hold on. His plan was, if we go back to the game, he told Miles, I quote, "Okay, whatever the thing is, it's after this rock, right?" So he says, "We're going to make a distraction. Me and Miles are going to draw Venom away from the nest, and that you go get the meteor piece." So Peter finding Venom was all distraction because he needed to get Venom away from the nest so MJ could get the freaking rock.
That's fine, but that's still crazy that he can do that. That's still crazy. I hope you know that. I hope you know that's crazy. That's pretty much Spider-Man and Miles defeating Null by themselves. You know how crazy
later
that
on,
is.
you have Miles fighting him because Peter was unconscious. Then Miles and Peter start fighting Venom together.
Yeah, and that's so crazy that we're in this version of Venom and he's
Miles and MJ are taking out the symbiote.
That is crazy. To me, that is lazy writing. You're telling me this crazy event is happening, and all this shit's happening, and nobody decides to show up. It's either lazy writing or superheroes are assholes. I don't know which one it is. I don't know how hard it is to concept that.
But that's the concept is that because there is a big event, it needs to have the Avengers. Not every big event needs to have Avengers.
Listen, fuck the Avengers. Fuck the Avengers. I'm talking.
Not even just the Avengers. Not every event needs to have a freaking superhero in it.
Okay, but you have Venom that's actively
to take
trying
over the city.
Take over the world.
Books. I'm talking about comic books, other medias. When this shit happens, when big events happen
in
New York,
it's not
superhero showed up. So this is the first time we've ever seen a big event happen, and no other superhero team showed up. This is the first time ever. Are the superheroes assholes, or is it lazy writing? Which one is it?
Phil, that's the point. That's what you're missing. Comic books and the movies and other media are not the Insomniac universes.
That is fine. That is fine, but when you reference other superhero teams and
comic
they
books,
show
not
up, it's kind of crazy.
Every big event that has happened has not always had the Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men. Sometimes those big events have only been either, let's say, Reed Richards and maybe a couple of X-Men and maybe a couple of Avengers, or a big event where it's just been Spider-Man and maybe a Cloak and Dagger. But not every big event always has been Fantastic Four, Avengers, X-Men. Sometimes it has been Peter and just a couple of his friends taking on a big threat, and that was it. Sometimes the Avengers do not freaking show up. Sometimes the Fantastic Four do not show up during these big events. Because in Marvel Universe, right, if there's a big event going on in New York, let's go off of comic books, right? Here's a big event going on in New York. Spider-Man's there, right? Spider-Man's there, but the Fantastic Four and Avengers can't show up. But let's say you got Miles, and then you have, let's say because in comic books it is freaking A-Rock. Not A-Rock, Flash Thompson. You have Agent Venom, and there's this big event, and it's three of them versus whatever this event is, right? They take this records out during the event. Those heroes don't up, but they still did it, which is what Insomniac is doing was doing in this game is that you have references to characters in all these things.
You're really breaking up, dude.
There was no, like, they didn't show up for this one event. That don't mean they're not going to show up for another event later down the line. But you already have characters like Peter, Miles, and Kurt Connors working things on the sidelines. Martin Lee helping Miles getting the anti-venom pistol while also keeping Martin and Miles fighting also keeping the symbiote. And Jane Miles playing off the symbiote while Peter's trying
Hey,
to...
man.
I can't even understand you.
Hey, dude, I can't hear anything you're saying.
I don't know where that comes from.
Hey, yeah, Game Boy, I think that might be you, bro.
That sound effect is not me.
It's on me. I hear it. So
Everyone mute each other.
Okay, mute my mic. What the hell?
That was Game Boy.
It was him.
So hold on. So what I'm going to say is that what happened in the Dark Web event? Did you read that?
Yeah, no, I did read the Dark.
So what happened? You know what happened then. You know that X-Men showed up, and the Ms. Marvel showed up, and then Tony showed up. What happened in the Carnage Reigns event? We had Tony show up to help Miles. What I'm saying is, you're just making an excuse for these characters not to show up because it's a Spider-Man game, and them three could have done it. What I'm saying is, even though they can do it on their own, it doesn't really matter. Superheroes will show up just to help New York because they are superheroes and they live in New York, or they get a distress call. It's just a normal hero thing that's in a normal Marvel universe. It doesn't matter what verse it is. It doesn't matter if it's a comic book. It doesn't matter if it's a movie. It doesn't matter if it's a video game. Whatever. When you have a big event, when someone's taking over the city, it doesn't matter how strong they are. It doesn't matter how weak they are. A superhero team will show up, or other characters will show up to help. It does not matter that Miles and Peter can do it on their own. It doesn't matter. It's just common sense. And we're acting like this game is a 15 out of 10, and by doing that, we're gonna not get improvements on the game. I'm actually trying to improve the game because there's plot holes into the story. When you have a big event, this is happening. This is taking over New York. This was bigger than Web of Shadows because Web of Shadows was only in Manhattan. This took place in other boroughs. So now this is a bigger event automatically. So now and Web of Shadows had other characters in it. Not saying that's why it's better. The only reason I mean, but you have other boroughs sitting and taking over, and you keep saying that Miles and Peter could do it on their own. That is fine. They had MJ. That's fine. But it makes the story have plot holes. You have reference of Doctor Strange. You have reference of T'Challa. You have reference of the Avengers. You have the reference of Fantastic Four, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, fucking Logan, fucking Daredevil, all these characters, and you're telling me none of them decided to help. Not just to say, like, go in there and fight. What if they're just eating? What if they're taking takeout? What if they're just going out to get dinner with their loved one, and they're like seeing me run down the street? You know, like, okay, I'm gonna put my Daredevil suit on. Like, they're not gonna just do that. Like, that's not a possibility. And
not even,
we can't criticize that. It's kind of crazy.
Circles.
Not even that, Phil. Like, you got the fact also, like, the Sanctum Sanctorum and also the Avenger Tower. You don't think any of them, or even Fantastic Four, are not worried about any of the symbiotes getting into their buildings?
No, I guess not. They're just having some coffee and tea, and they're just like, yeah, Peter's got it. It's Peter's story. Like what? I don't know. It's just kind of mind blowing.
We're going in circles here.
I just don't think you understand the concept of that characters just help when there's a big event.
No, I understand the concept, but I don't think you understand the concept of that. This was a freaking, like, for character-wise, this was a test to see how people would react with different characters showing up to help.
No, that's fine, but they should have said, hey, the characters are here and they were helping. We just didn't have them in the game. If they would have even said that, that would make a lot of sense. But to not do that and not have them even a cutscene into it, you're pretty much giving Peter and Miles this crazy plot armor that they can pretty much defeat.
Thank you.
Most of the time, they're going to do it. If there's a big event, like it's in Manhattan and it's taken over Manhattan, characters are going to help. If like at least one of the characters I mentioned.
Phil, but that's the thing. You're basically saying the same thing that I just stated, but you don't realize it.
No, I just don't. No.
Can I say something real quick? Because someone said something in the chat. I want to clarify something. Yes, there's licensing issues, but then then if that was the case, then they wouldn't be able to show the logo of the Avengers Tower or the X-Men or mention the X-Men, Fantastic Four, because then there would be. But plus, Marvel owns majority of their heroes as we speak, except for Spider-Man. But even then, there's a deal. There, I don't want to get into the political part of it because it's a hot mess, but. But they wouldn't be able to show those logos if there was a licensing issue.
Just come to my page and I'll explain the whole entire thing.
Say what?
No, I was just saying, like, if anyone wants to know the whole entire deal about the whole licensing thing and the reason behind, like, a lot of freaking, like, stuff for Marvel, like, just come to my page and I'll explain the whole entire thing, because I do that a lot, frankly. But continue.
Yeah, but that's why I was just responding to the chat because he's saying that, the reason why they wouldn't be there. I'm like, well, that doesn't... That's taken out completely, because then they wouldn't be able to show the logos of those teams or at least a character or mention of them. They wouldn't be able to do that if there was licensing keeping them not showing up. That would not work. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I can't go make a video saying that I'm sponsored by such and such, and because I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's no big deal.
I know exactly what's going on. But that goes back to my point though, fans, because Phil keeps bringing up the comic books and all that. Like, yes, there are majority of times where a big event like in Manhattan or Brooklyn or whatever the case may be happens and all the heroes show up. But a good majority of the time, also in comic books, a lot of heroes like the Fantastic Four, like the Avengers, like the X-Men, don't always show up when there is a big event. Like, going off of, like,
in the comics, but
hold on. Like, for example, going off of the did you guys read the Ultimate Spider-Man? I think it was like the Cosmic Galaxy War thing where Miles and like a few of the heroes went up against Galactus.
Yes, I read that.
Okay, in that comic book, right? Yeah. There was as far as I remember from reading that comic book, it was Miles and Cloak and Dagger, and maybe a few others, right? But there were no Avengers there.
I think no. It was wasn't Bombshell in that too?
No, Bombshell. Yeah, that's why I said a few others because I couldn't remember his name. But Bombshell was there too. Like, yeah. But the Avengers didn't show up in that issue or in that storyline. It was just those characters.
But there was
and they still wind up taking the W. And that's the point I'm making. Like, just because we have references to these characters in this game and it was a big event.
Hold on. But that's my point, though. If you read, hold on. But you're bringing up that event, but you're not bringing up the things that were building up before that event. That's, there was heroes actually trying to take care of Galactus that's from a whole nother universe that's invading their universe or whatever. And there are teams going after that from other issues, but within that contain 3-issue arc, or I think, was it 3-issue arc?
No, it was like, if I'm not, wait, hold on. Yeah, no, it was 3 issues. It was 3 issues.
But my point is, like, I agree with Phil. Like, it doesn't have to be within that crossover event. There's other issues that either reference that or tie it in. Like, you have tie-ins and whatnot. And at least, okay, let's play devil's advocate. All they could have done, if you don't want it, because like they put out a prequel comic before the Spider-Man 2 events.
Yeah,
they could have easily put out a comic explaining what's going on, even though I still think they should have done that in the game, but they completely ignore that by just writing it off by saying they're on vacation or whatnot. That's lazy writing. I don't care. Like, look, I'm not trying to defend Far From Home. I don't really care for that film, but even in Far From Home, they make mention of heroes where they're at and what's going on with them. They never mentioned it in the game. They just they mentioned they were on vacation. Okay, cool, but that's not a good enough excuse for them not to show up. Plus, you have New York City under attack by Symbiotes, which I keep saying it again, and you have the Baxter Building there. You have the Sanctorium. You have Avengers Tower. You have the Wakanda stuff that's in New York City, and you have all this other stuff. And you're telling me none of the heroes are going to try to at least show up for their stuff to defend that? Because what if one of the symbiotes, especially a symbiotes that are connected to like Null and whatnot, and you wouldn't want, I wouldn't want like them to show up. Like for instance, if I'm Reed Richards, I wouldn't want any of those symbiotes nowhere near Baxter Building. You imagine if they started getting hold of his technology? That's crazy. I mean, you can write that in later on, but in the context of this game, you got to tell it in this game because to ignore that is lazy writing because you have set it up in the past games that they are a part of New York City. They are part of this universe. And you have to do better than just say, oh, they're on vacation. That's just lazy writing for me. That's lazy writing. If this was a movie, critics would tear that apart. If this was a TV show, they would tear it apart. If it's in the comics, I bet your ass comic book creators, fans would tear that apart. What, the Avengers are not going to show up in New York City in the comics and they have in New York and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just to say that they're not there for any other reasons is ridiculous. It only boils down to it just makes the Avengers and all the other heroes, X-Men, Fantastic Four, the street level heroes, or even the cosmic heroes, they look like they're sorry ass heroes. That's what they're doing. They're literally writing themselves into a hole. If they don't have any of these heroes show up, they could at least shown one. I don't care. It doesn't have to be a team. They could have just they could have had Wolverine show up in the game. That would have been fine with me. Not even show up. Just, I don't know, like either a phone call, a text, or a scene or something. Something. I mean, they went out their way to show the Spider-Verse. Why couldn't they go out the way to show any of their heroes in their own universe?
Hello.
I mean, that's just where I'm at with it.
And my thing is, if they just say like, if something comes out, or they have a DLC, and we just see glimpses of the characters fighting symbiotes, I'd be like, you know what? Okay, now it makes a lot of sense. Now I'm like, okay, now the story's perfect because that is the plot hole of the story. That's the only problem I have with the story right now, and I think the rest of the game is really good. I actually like the story of the whole game, but to that point where the symbiotes were taking over Manhattan, I was just kind of like, you're telling me no one showed up? Not even one? Not like it's not a license issue because they mentioned them. Because if it was a license issue, we would not have saw any of this stuff. So I understand it's a Spider-Man game, but it's just that's not the point. The point is now you're going beyond of it being a Spider-Man game. That's what I'm trying to say.
And I want to specify real quick is that I'm not, even though everything I said, I'm not. I love the game. I currently was playing the game today. Like I really enjoy the game. I think the core story of the game itself is good, but there is issues. It's literally biased to say that the game, like, granted, I'm not taking that away from you. What's your username?
I just Blackbeard Miles.
If you think that is 10 out of 10, I'm glad that you're standing by that, and I'm happy for you. And I gave mine is like a 9 too. It's at a 9, but you know that's maybe for you that's perfect for you, but for outside from the outside perspective, and someone also I love, and that's why I was getting very heated with the other guy in here, and even Marvel. Like I read the comics, I watch the movies, and I can tell. I'm gonna be real with you. When I say I'm gonna call it out, I'm gonna say if there's a story,
hold on. Hey, yo, Cinnamon fans.
Yeah.
Can you give me powers real quick?
What's going on?
No, I need to block someone out of the chat because he reported my a video before, and I proved it. I'll show you in Discord if you want, or text.
How do you even give you I don't even know how to do that, to be honest with you.
Click his profile.
Okay.
And then there should be a option that says add as moderator. And then once you click add as moderator, click moderator settings, and it will give you the option to turn to give the moderator the power to kick people.
All I see is GIFs and the mic and the video.
Oh wait, no, I'm tripping. Click the God dang it. Click the the guest button, like the button where they could join.
Okay, I see.
And then it should have moderator and stuff like that up there.
Settings. Oh, moderators. Let's see. Add moderator. Let's see. Gosh, there's a lot of people on this thing. Oh, hold on. Phil. Here we are. Add. Confirm.
Yeah.
Or I think you're a moderator now.
All right.
Yeah, but no, I completely get where like Phil's coming from and where you come from too, because like I've grown up with Spider-Man from like the comic books, and fun fact, the first ever issue I ever read, due to my dad having the comic books when he was growing up, was the Amazing Fantasy 15. So like I completely understand it, right? There's a big event and everything, and the Avengers show up in like these different comic books. I get that, but which is why I'm like, I'm not taking away from like what Phil gives the game or what you give the game, but because I have read the comic books, and like there are moments where like certain heroes don't show up, or the Avengers don't show up, or like the X-Men or Fantastic Four don't show up. Whenever like I do hear that complaint about like, well, this feels like a plot hole, which again, you're valid to feel that way. I'm not saying you're not. I'm not taking that away from you.
Oh,
But
I'm
when
not
I
responding
hear
to you.
that,
I
it's
was
just like,
looking at
bro,
the thing.
are we just forgetting like this? Are we forgetting like stuff like this does happen in the books too, or are we just like picking and choosing when we get upset
I
about it?
think it's all about context too. Like,
There's context behind it. Like, my thing is, if it happens in the book, then it's like we're still seeing like not just Miles and Peter. That's like it would be like Peter, Daredevil, Moon Knight, or like Peter, Miles, and Luke Cage. It's different avenues of like sections of New York. It's not just like two characters plus a person who has a sound gun defeating an army of symbiotes. I understand the way they did it. I totally understand that, but it just gives me like the sense of like, okay, it's just like, all right, they didn't know how to put these characters into the story, and they felt rushed a little bit, and we're just gonna just throw this out here. And what I'm trying to do is critique the game to where if they would have added just characters in, just like, hey, this is a big event, so this is going past Peter now. This is going past Miles now, even together. This is going past of like the Spider team. Like that's what I was thinking when I was seeing this event. I was like, I was hoping to see like other characters now, because I'm like, why am I giving that feeling that like Peter and Miles can't do this, even though they did. The game was telling me it's one thing, but then at the end it gave me something else, and I'm just like, dude, we couldn't even like see like what if like Matt was just walking down the street, like just going to get a bite to eat, or hell, even Johnny and the Thing, they're just going a bite to eat, and they just see symbiotes flying everywhere. You don't think they're just gonna just not fight them? I just feels kind of weird to me. Even other stories, when we don't see them fight the actual main villain, just the mercenaries, I guess, or the soldiers, you will see glimpses of them just fighting. Again, an example is King Black. We didn't see everyone fight Null. We saw them fight the symbiotes and the dragons. Like Storm was fighting the fucking dragons until Thor showed up and got his ass beat. So like, you know, we've seen that shit. I didn't even need to even be an assist the thing. I just needed this glimpse of like, okay, now we're opening up the world now, because now this is not just Peter anymore. This is not just Miles anymore. This is not just about Spider-Man. This is more going to the Insomniac universe now. Don't tease me and then not just give me something. That's also a part of it too.
Me personally, I give Marvel Spider-Man 2 a pass on the whole like the Avengers not showing up, because like, okay, had they not added like Rafe in there and like her show up during the event while Peter's like finding symbiotes and stuff, then I probably would have the same complaint as you, like, well, why even like, you know, like build up this big story with Rafe and Peter, or Rafe and Spider-Man, and her not show up in the second game at all, and then like her not even show up because there's a big event. But because like they did kind of like, they did add her in there, and she does show up like even in the open world, like when you're just swinging around and like doing a crime, like she shows up and winds like she's already there.
See, that would have been cool too. That would have been cool too. I don't need that much, because just adding a cutscene is not a lot for development.
Or like not even the side mission, the main story. Like for me, when I was doing the main story of I forgot the name of it, but it was during the whole symbiote effects and thing, and you had to go like swing to the what was it? The freaking district to where the meteorite was. Like there's a moment where you have to take out the symbiotes before going there, and you see Rafe down there like helping out and taking out the symbiotes, and then like there's another moment where you see Miles taking down the symbiote and shit.
And listen, I think that's dope as shit. But I'm not even asking for that because adding that puts a lot of depth into the game and it makes it a lot harder for the developers. I'm just asking for a fucking cutscene. That's all I'm at. Or hell, even a fucking radio station. Like the Fantastic Four are taking out the symbiotes by the new Baxter building where Wilson Fisk used to be working at. Like that's all they got to do. And it's like, holy shit, now we see the Fantastic Four is in the universe now completely. They're actually fighting the symbiotes. We could have just got a radio scene of just like the chick. I forgot what that chick's name. Not even JJ, the other chick with the purple hair. She could have just been like, we have this new team, the Fantastic Four, taking over Wilson Fisk Tower now. It's called the Baxter Building. They're taking out the symbiotes all down the street. That's all they got to do. That's all I'm asking. That makes the story a lot more believable. Like, shit, dude. If anything, it makes Peter Miles look more dangerous. Because now we're saying, damn, they were doing that, and Peter Miles figured out how to beat him and in one day. I feel like for your stance, if you like this game this much, that will make the game improve. Because it's like, shit, dude, now we see other characters trying to help. That's cool as shit. And it's not even a cameo. I don't even need a fucking cameo. I just need a fucking radio talk. That's it. Or we can hear that Tony Stark is flying by from across the United States right now from the West Coast Avengers. Wouldn't that just be that badass scene just to hear that in the radio? I just don't know how that's even like a problem. And
but there were supposed to be like leading up the months and weeks to this game coming out. There were like screenshots or like statements from Sony that said like, besides from Peter, Miles, and Rave, there are going to be other Marvel heroes that pop up in the open world that's going to wind up like helping Peter and stuff. But I guess like because like New Game Plus wasn't there on launch, and they're adding that like later, so maybe they were supposed to add those characters in, but perhaps it wasn't like what's the word I'm looking for? A development issue to where they couldn't, so they just added Rafe instead of like all the other characters that they wanted to add it. So maybe DLC wise or like update wise, they might add those characters later on.
I just need a DLC of them just like talking about the event, and that's it. And now making that game for me would go from 8.5 to a 9.
I think the DLC might not come out as soon as.
I don't think there's gonna be DLCs. I'm telling you, I have a gut feeling there's not gonna be like no DLC for a while.
Yeah, because there is a thing that Yuri and the voice actor for Miles, and I think also Tony Todd as well, they're scheduled to do some work next year, which I don't know how that works with the acting stuff, but they do have some. I think a lot of it is pandemic stuff as well that's not being talked about, as well as like I think a lot of this. I feel like the game would have been out a long time ago.
I think so too. I think it would have been out in 2022 at
I think
latest.
there's a lot of because they were mentioning as well. There's an interview with the director because he's talking about like he's alluding to like, you know, that scene. There's a moment you can go to like whoever mentioned it that you can go to Murdoch and Nelson, whatever it was, and see that they moved out. He's saying that he's alluding to they're going to show up in later content. Daredevil's going to show up in later content. I was like, okay, cool, great. You know, so I think. Because they also mentioned even in the game at the end of the Cletus stuff, Rafe was telling Peter like, "Hey, like Cletus has gone underground. It's going to take maybe a week, month, or even years to hunt and find him out again." That was me when I heard that. That was Insomniac telling the player or whoever's playing it is that look, we are nowhere near ready. It's going to take some time to make more content. So I think. It's going to be at least a year or so. We're going to see a DLC, and I think it won't be the same thing like it was in the first game. I think it's going to be more like a Miles Morales situation.
I was going to say, cinema fans. So the guy I blocked, if you make me bigger, if you actually see this is like the proof I have of him trying to report my video.
How do you even make? Hold on.
Click my screen, and then you should see like a big like square box. On the far right.
Oh, I see it. I think that's.
So there you go.
There you go.
Reported my video. I got it appealed and got the video back, but he's denying that he didn't ever report it. And I'll show you the video too. I definitely know TikTok's algorithm didn't pick it up because I don't think I even cussed in the video. So he had to report it, and it was because of the Sam Wilson stuff, and that's when I blocked him.
Mhm.
But he's calling me, I'm whining and stuff in the comments, so that's why I had to block him because I didn't want him to report my account in the stream, so I get live banned. So continue.
Yeah, when I saw that, when he saw that, I immediately blocked him. But yeah, I took a screenshot of him. I've had run-ins with him too.
Nav has too. Like Nava, he called Nava a quote unquote child PRE. You know what I'm talking about?
Dude, let me tell you something. These people out here getting wild. They getting wild.
And he said that because do you remember the Marvel Geek?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so Nav was helping him out with Lion, and that's why he called him that. Yeah.
Okay, but I know what you're doing. No, I seen the guy you're talking about because I was in that live when Novel was helping, and I saw that dude freaking say that.
Yeah, well, I have the proof of it. I have the screenshots.
Dude, it's not. I kid you not. There's a guy. Oh, what? There's a guy right now that I keep blocking him. He keeps making backup accounts after backing up accounts. He literally went to my Twitter account and just said everything under. Yeah, it's pretty much something like that, but a little bit more, a little more detail. I can't say it on live. I don't want to get taken down, but
yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what he said to Nav. So that's why I like a lot of people don't have him blocked yet, and that's why I am skeptical of joining lives because that guy, I have proof. I just showed you guys. So
I blocked him.
The video too.
He's blocked with me. So
okay, cool.
I thought I blocked him already, to be honest with you.
But anyway, sorry. Continue what we're saying. I just had to point that out.
But
if you want, click yourself now and hit the same box. If you want to make yourself bigger.
I'm sorry. I never really do a lot. I'm just starting to get into this live stream stuff. But
it's just for me. If we're gonna get a Wolverine game and stuff, and if Sonic wants to bring out the universe, and I've heard rumors they want to do like a big Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, I just think Spider-Man 2 would have been the perfect area to just have some cutscenes or mentioning of other characters because hell, even the radio stations don't even mention or talk about the other characters. When the Avengers are supposed to be there for at least 3 years, and JJ doesn't even talk about that, like that's just kind of weird to me. That just never happened. It's like,
well, he does allude to vigilantes, but that's very broad.
Bro, that could be Miles. That could be anybody. Like
that's broad.
Like that's what I'm saying. It just feels like they're just teasing us, and they're just saying like they're just giving us the middle finger. And I feel like it's a right criticism to do. Like,
also take into account that a while back before Spider-Man 2 came out, Insomniac did mention that they were working on a multiplayer story game that's supposed to take place in the same universe as
that's what I'm saying. That's the Avengers game or the Marvel Alliance game I was telling you about. I just feel like if you're going to make Spider-Man game and a Spider-Man game, then... Wait, what?
No, I said that's what I'm saying. Like they could be saving all that, like while we getting hints for them here. Perhaps the reason.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. We're getting them hints. I just feel like we got a lot of hints in the first game. The second game now, we're going to a gray area to where it's so big. This event is huge, and like I said, I personally don't need this. A lot of people probably might. I just think for the story purposes, it would make it a lot more compelling to have all the superheroes in New York, or at least 5 or 6 of them, be like fighting, and they don't know what's going on. They just see people getting abducted and people getting attacked, and they're just doing superhero due diligence, and they're just helping. And I just think that's a common, or not common. I think that's a right criticism, and I just don't see the badness into it. I understand it's a Spider-Man game. I understand all that. Then at that point, then don't hint or show other characters. Don't show me Avengers Tower. Don't show me the Baxter Building. Don't show me the Sanctum Sanctorum. Don't even mention about lawyers and Daredevil. Don't. Make it only Spider-Man and Miles then. Don't do that then. Make it, and then make the event smaller. Make it just Venom. Don't make it like the Keenan Black stuff.
I think a lot of it also is that I think Insomniac doesn't really they keep playing with the idea. Like for instance, the whole Spider-Verse stuff. They keep dipping their toes into the water, then they mess around with it, and then they're like, oh, Spider-Man's not part of the Spider-Verse. But then, you know what I mean? It's like don't sit there and tell me they don't have any control over their character. Like you had your character and the voice actor say some lines in the recent Spider-Verse film, having a little cameo. And you want to tell me that he's never been part of the Spider-Verse? Like you can't. That's the same thing with the universe. Like you're dipping your toe, like I was saying with the first game, you're dipping your toes in, showing that these heroes exist, but you're not doing anything with them. But then you're having these big events like Spider-Man 2, and you're just not bringing them in, or at least I don't know. You're saying like a news article. Jade, I mean, you have two news reporters, the chick you were talking about, and J. Jonah Jameson. I mean, J. Jonah Jameson throughout comics, he went after Spider-Man, but he went after all the other heroes too. But yeah, it's crazy. Yep. Oh, Phil left. That's dope. Man, I thought this was going to be a spoiler. Just got this one full on crazy.
It went from spoiler discussing to full on what we don't like about the damn game.
I mean, I guess it's good conversation, debate, but like I don't know. I was kind of getting heated earlier.
No, I was getting a little heated with Phil because, like, bro, are we not going to act like this don't happen in comic books? And also,
I can see both. I can see both y'all's perspectives. So I think, yeah, because like there's moments in the comics where it's like there's its own little story, but then they will mention it later. I think honestly, the game is what it is, and I think it's better to judge this game when we have other content later down the road, like the DLC, the next sequel, or even a Miles sequel. I think they will do a sequel to Miles, just the way to set it up.
Yeah,
but it's interesting
because again, the way Brian Interhart describes this game, especially in like the newer interview he was in, is he says, I quote, "I think if Marvel Spider-Man 1 and Miles was our Iron Man, and Marvel Spider-Man 2 was like our Civil War, then where do we go from here? I think could be pretty cool."
The only thing I fear about, I mentioned like really early in the live stream, is that they might be biting off more than they can chew. And I think that's kind of shown a little bit in this game, is that they're trying to set up this universe, which is great. But then you're kind of like what Marvel Studios has been going through in the last two phases, that you're putting out so much content, but a lot of that story, that plot is starting to fall through the cracks a little bit. Now you have the Marvel Studios now trying to literally do not a reboot, but kind of twist things around using the multiverse and whatnot. But same thing with the Insomniac games. Like I'm excited for Wolverine, and I would be excited for a Daredevil game, but like do it one at a time. Don't rush it. Let this story flesh out. Spend more time. Don't get me wrong. I love the game. I love the whole chemistry between. I think they did a great job with MJ and Peter, and Miles and Peter. I think those four, Miles, Peter, MJ, and Harry, I think were amazing. But then I feel like everything else around that was kind of, short-lived.
Yeah, true.
A lot was said in this live. I ain't gonna lie.
I honestly feel like story-wise that this was one of the better stories for Spider-Man, just because of the way how it was handled, and like there are freaking moments that are like super memorable that people are gonna remember like for a while, and especially with the fact that like now we got the introducing of Cindy Moon and stuff. So it's like, Cindy Moon's never really been in a freaking Spider-Man game before. So like that's something like that Insomniac actually made history on, because now you're not just doing Miles, Peter, you're doing Cindy, you're doing Agent Venom, you're doing Rafe. Like they're slowly building their universe and introducing all these characters, which is the point I was trying to make to Phil, is that like you're complaining about the characters not showing up, but then it's like you're completely overlooking that slowly and shortly Insomniac are introducing these characters in each game. So it's like, while they did not show up in this game, and yeah, it would have made sense for them to show up, but there were already characters that like were helping and that were part of it.
I think we're gonna end up getting a Gotham Knights situation with the Spider people, maybe in the third game. Because I think I do agree with you. Because I think they are testing the waters a bit with having like Miles show up randomly or Rafe showing up randomly. I think they're setting that up for like in the third game, you can have an online player. Hopefully they don't do it to the story mode. Like they keep it separate, like a multiplayer or whatever. But like GTA 5 does. But I think that would be dope. Something like a Gotham Knights thing kind of situation. Now, story-wise, no, but the having people showing up while you're fighting crime, that's cool.
But even without like the multiplayer aspect, because like Gotham Knights needed the multiplayer aspect because it was a team-based game and stuff. So it's like you have all these knights and shit. But like with Spider-Man 3, I don't think a multiplayer mode or a co-op mode would be necessary. If anything, that's why I said like they're testing the waters with this game and it being a single player game to see like how people are going to react to different characters popping up, because they're going to add like Daredevil, Captain America, Reed Richards, and have them like all show up in the third game, and like you'll just have this big New York City where like you could be swaying around and you might see like Iron Man fly by or like Wolverine on his bike and shit, and then you can go help them out, and they help Peter out not only in the open world but also like in certain personal stories, just like how when you had to freaking go fight all the symbiotes off before you go find the meteorite, you had Rafe, you had Miles pop up and helping Peter fight off the symbiotes, and then like they just wind up disappearing, and then you see them again once you like go out into the open world and stuff. So that's what I'm like, in retrospect, like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and they're also teasing in the game that they're possibly going outside of New York City as well. So we don't know what they're going to. They can do anything. They're definitely keeping the opportunities open ended with the game.
Mm-hmm.
But man, this is the last stream. I don't even know how long this one went on. This is probably the longest one I've done. But I appreciate you coming on, man. I think I'm gonna have to wrap it up. I'm kind of like deadbeat, to be honest with you. But
I'm there where I'm like, bro, I'm not even gonna lie. I've been streaming for like on YouTube for like 5 hours, and I'm like, bro, I'm yet to be drained. But like, I kind of want to go to bed. So yeah, but I'll hit you with a follow. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's real cool. I'm gonna be honest. I can't wait for the next one. Not gonna lie. Because I feel like there's a lot more to discuss regarding this game and shit. But keep it real. Deuces.
See ya. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. I don't know when the next live stream is. I got a lot going on outside of TikTok, and also, you know me. I keep y'all up to date. I always do. I'm always posting daily, so check that out. Go follow me on Cinema Fans. Also go follow the other creators that are on this app and on the live stream. So I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you for supporting me and everyone else on here. And and please don't send no hate. Oh, I want to say this one thing before I go, because that really makes me upset about that creator that reported Phil's video. Look, I don't mind, look, my Cinema Fans is the home for fans of cinema, or really the home for fandom, for whatever. So let's be respectful. I understand I can't control everyone. Everyone's going to say what they're going to say, but let's keep it adult. Let's keep it civil, guys. Come on now, come on. Don't make me have to like mute the chat net for now on doing these live streams, guys. I don't want to do that because literally the name is called Cinema Fan. So I don't want to do that, but y'all need to chill. So anyway, I'm getting tired. I'm rambling on, but thank you for watching. Follow for more. Check out my other content and all the other creators' content, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.